Yeah. What? I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
There we go. It's not. Boom. What's going on, everybody? Lil Jones with the Indie Breakdown, the show that breaks down your favorite indie comic book characters, power, stats, and abilities, and gets them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. We have something a bit special this time around. We are going to be tiering your characters today, but also teaching you guys about how we do power scaling here at the Indie Breakdown. So I'm going to play the intro one more time. Make sure we get a couple more people in here really quick, and we're going to get things started.
Yeah. What? I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
All right, so we're here now. I think that gave a good bit of people a little bit of time. Obviously, people will be trickling in as we really get things started. Please let me know if you can hear me. If everything, I swear sometimes I sound like I'm doing a Teams call. Guys, let me know if you can hear me, and we'll go ahead and get things started as we let everybody roll in, right? But anyway, with that being said, we are going to be doing a couple of things here today. So, as we've expressed in the past, right, and for those that are new here, the Indie Breakdown started off as a show, right? Again, power stats abilities, get them ready for an Indie versus matchup. We had 10 people a season. We did a creator class. Everybody talked trash. But after season 2, actually, one second. Oh, that light was bothering me. But after season 2, there was a lot of people that was like, oh, man, I want to be a part of this. I want to learn more about other people's characters. I want to share my characters. I want to do all of these amazing things. And we were like, well, how do we scale this, essentially? How do we get this to more people? How are we able to get everybody involved? So myself, Tasha, and Lonzo of Concrete, of course, helped us create, or we all came together and we created the Facebook group. And for everybody that's watching here, so if you're watching from the Facebook page, yes, we have a Facebook group. If you're watching from the YouTube, yes, we have a Facebook group. And those that are in the group, y'all know what it is in regards to that. But we were like, hey, how do we mimic the same thing? And so my favorite icebreaker, when I'm somewhere and there's video games involved, or even card games, or just games in general, I'm always like, I bet you can't beat my ass, right? So it's just like, all right, like, let's use this opportunity to be like, oh, my character's better than yours, here's why. And now you're explaining and essentially breaking down your own character. And I just realized that my camera is kind of blurry. Might be just the lighting, but anyway, so that was the mindset. So we was like, hey, if we can do versus matches, if we can get people to challenge each other and have those conversations, there'll be general interest in one another's characters, right? But with that, it comes with its own trials and tribulations, right? Because now it's, well, my character could do all these things, and your character, you have a book and you haven't showcased those things. And so that led to the creation of the Nexus, that led to the creation of the Reckoning, but there was still something missing, right? And that is what really we're going to be talking about today. We did come up with the database. We did say, hey, tell us what those stats are. But there's a different understanding, right, out there in regards to what a character is, right? If you look at versus battle, that fandom, and in a lot of these other power scaling sites, right? There's this general kind of same thing, right? And we even used one in the form of Tavis's power scaling system in the past, right? And you'll run into things like the character is nuclear level, but then when we get into physical combat, they can punch hard enough to knock a wall down, right? Or their energy has this destructive capability, right? But somewhere in there, the thing that's missed is what is the character, right? And that reminds me of a conversation that we had a while back. You could check that live video out on our YouTube. Is we had a discussion, a little bit of a debate about what a street tier character is, right? And there was a point of contention where we put, Punisher, Spider-Man, and Eraserhead next to each other, right? You're just kind of like, no, but Spider-Man's fault does it. You know what I'm saying? So it's this conversation of what exactly are the characters. Some of this isn't something that's completely unheard of, especially when you start talking about breakdowns and things like DC, like Marvel, when we learn about, what is a mutant versus a mutate, those type of things, right? So there's going to be some terminology that is really quite familiar, right? But what we're going to do today is express what the indie breakdowns tiering system is. Play a little fun Kahoot game really quick in regards to that, and then we're going to actually start tiering your characters here on the live. So we do have obviously we're going to be using, in regards to tiering, we're going to be utilizing the website Tier Maker for that. I'll share that screen ever so briefly. Actually, can I do that? Like, surely I could share the screen, but can I share? I understand. Proceed. And then we're going to do this. Allow, share. All right. I think I lagged a little bit, but we're going to use this. It is a bit small for me. If you guys have a hard time seeing it, let me know. So we're not at this point yet, but to give you an idea, as we get ready to go into this somewhat of a presentation here, we'll dive into it. But our tiering system has 10 tiers because one of the things that we want to do is keep it in line with the tiering system that we were utilizing before, which was Tavis's, right? So now there's still a comparability, right? So like we're not giving you something that's completely new and the numbers are completely skewed now, right? We wanted to create something that's still familiar enough, that's still kind of setting the stage moving forward. It's an easy segue, I guess, is what I'm alluding to. And so we're going to go through each of those. Two of them you should be familiar with because we did battles based on those not too long ago, right? And so we're going to go from there. And of course, if you have any questions throughout the entirety of this thing, please let us know. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to hide that. And actually, I'm going to stop sharing from this computer here. And again, let me know if it lags or anything of that nature. Stop sharing. There we go. And actually, you know what? If I do that, I'm going to try to sign in from over here. All right. So with that being said, we're going to share screen. In case you guys didn't know, here's another fun thing. I've done a panel, several panels now, this year discussing this. Excuse me. And so I have had the pleasure of specifically doing the quantifying characters panel, um, which was pretty neat. And so essentially, we're going to be doing a very high level version of that, right? Really quick, so that you guys can understand the process that we're going to go through. So when we're asking these questions about your characters, where they are, or when we do an event, right, and we say, any baseline characters, right, drop them here. What do we mean by baseline? And that's our tier 10. So let's talk about it, right? Anyway, that's my actual panel situation. So we're gonna skip that. So baseline. Initially just said humans, still editing some of it. But baseline is any normal human slash alien that doesn't have a supernatural, physical, or enhanced trait. Just regular folk. The regular version of those species. And now another thing I want to dive into, right, is that the stats, we're not talking about stats yet, right? Today is all about tiering them, understanding who and what they are, right? So in regards to baseline, right? Take a conversation. Foggy Nelson is a regular guy, right? He has no powers, he has nothing. His stat is going to look completely different than even say Jimmy Olsen or Lois Lane, right? His stats would look different, but they are just regular people, right? Then you have a capable human, and again, still working out the some of the wording there because I want to include alien races, right? But for right now, capable human would be somebody like the Question, right? He doesn't have that same extensive training, and I say he because, but let's be correct here, right? Renee Montoya is the Question at this point, or more modern version of the Question at this point. So either one of them, they're capable. They have some fighting prowess. They have some ability to themselves, but they are not the most. They are not peak human characters, right? But now, which is our segue now into 10A, right? And so that would be somebody that's a master of mind and body, right? Pushing themselves to those human limits. Again, we don't really need a definition for peak human. We know what that is, right? And so that would be your Batman's, right? Now, why not Captain America, right? Because Captain America, there he got the super soldier serum to reach that level and beyond, right? So that's not somebody that's just a regular person, right? There's no accident. There's no extra outside influence. They just are the best version of themselves, or just capable, or they're just a regular civilian or what have you, right? So there's that, right? And I know there might be a point of contention later on when we start talking about physiology and that type of thing, right? But we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. If it makes sense, let us know. If not, we're fallible. Let's go ahead and right. So there's always room for case by case situations when it comes to these characters and discussion. So please, throw your 2 cents in. Let us know your thoughts. If you have questions, all that jazz, let me know. So really quick, what I want to do is quite honestly, I did not share this. Oh wow. I scrolled past something just now. I was about to share. So what I was about to say is I didn't share this out as adequately as I should have really quick. So I'm gonna share this really quick. But I just crossed by something that said Goku and Chaozu have never had a conversation. And now I'm really wow. That's actually crazy. I can't think of a time that Goku and Chaozu have actually spoken to one another. Outside of I think there was a movie that's not canon that maybe they did when he was like an emperor or whatever like that. They was fighting like a anyway, that's off topic. That's a whole nother thing. Um let me share this out really quick. And again, for anybody that's in here, if you guys have indie characters, if you have questions about characters, if you're already a part of the database, again, this kind of affects you, right? Because now it's like the question is, well, where does my character scale now? Right. And so we'll dive into that. But as a reminder, again, as I'm buying time to get this shared out, right? As a reminder, um, this is not the stats yet. This is not how strong your character hits, how fast they are, how smart they are. Like we're not there yet. This is just the tiering. And again, when we do get to stats, and that's going to be a completely separate live, when we do get to stats, you're going to see that familiar terminology of my character has infinite to irrelevant speed, or this guy is, he punches so hard he does X. That's a whole separate, there's tiering, there's the stats, right? Um, which is all scaling, all in all. But all right, I'm hitting the share button everywhere now. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. I am indiscriminately sharing everywhere because dare I say, I think what we have here is so powerful. And I think we could actually be an authority on scaling indie characters and providing those breakdowns that I think the creators need to get to their audience, right? Giving them a really quick minute spiel about what the character is and what they can do gets people excited about, well, what are they going to do in their story, right? And I feel like the breakdowns that we do following the interviews and stuff like that is a really good segue for people. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be pretty freaking awesome. So I got one more place I need to share this, and then we are going to get started proper. We will be joined in a little while by our good friend Lonzo Starr of Concrete Comics. He's going to dive in, ask some questions and stuff like that as well. Um, so again, if you guys don't have any questions, I know for sure he's gonna have some questions because we had some good conversation about this in the past, and I hope it's working that I'm buying time right now for our quantifying character situation here because I want as many people as possible to see this. And again, please interact, ask questions, all that good stuff. There's one thing I can do is I can talk my ass off. So if y'all don't ask questions, I might skate right past something that you are curious about. So we've already talked about baseline. For anybody that's just now coming in here, baseline is what? Again, that's any being, right, human or alien, that has no supernatural, no psychic, no enhanced traits. They're just a regular version of their race. Okay, just regular degular. Um, there are again some semantics, right? Because if I say Kryptonian isn't necessarily wouldn't necessarily be here because they do have a different physiology because their body reacts to outside forces that do change them, right? So there is going to be some points of contention, right? There's still things like that could get a little skewed that I hope that we iron out as we go further along in this. So um let's get it. And then when Lonzo comes in here, we'll also kind of go back, do a really quick refresher in case he also has questions, because we're all creators in here. Let's get it in, right? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one, which you also should be familiar with, which is enhanced. These characters, and we talked about that in that battle that's actually kind of slick still going right now between Taharka and Sith Row, Midnight versus Concrete, right? Who wins? Um, these are characters that are technologically or cybernetically augmented humans or aliens, right? And so again, each tier has three sub tiers, if you would, right? So you got basic augment. So if you're somebody like Misty Knight, Bucky Barnes, hell, one could argue Pegasus with the Millennium Eye, right? Somebody that has some sort of augment to their body that's mechanical or cybernetic, right? Then we have combat modified. So this is anybody that's using an armored suit or mech unit. So arguably, you could throw a Gundam pilot on here. Obviously, Iron Man, obviously War Machine, where their whole thing is tech, right? And then lastly, we have Apex Augmented, right? These are your machine and man in perfect synergy. That's your cyborg. That's your RoboCop. That's those guys, right? Where it's just like that is the very crux of their being, right? That's the very essence of their being. They arguably the androids, right? For those that don't know, right, the android 17 and 18 are really C17 and C18 in the manga, right? They're cyborgs, not androids. Android 16 is an android, but they are this mix. Now both would be here, right? But in different capacities. Android 16 would be a 9B, whereas the androids themselves would be 9A, right? So hopefully that makes sense. I don't really think we got to dive in too heavily there in that regard. So let's move on to the next one. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, things that don't make sense to you, let me know and we'll dive into that. And then let me because I am actually still, I have this up to monitor for any questions as well, but I'm on the wrong thing here. Okay. Boom. So next up, and we're going to go through the rest of these pretty quick, we have tier 8, which would be meta, right? And so meta, these are characters that gain their abilities through science, accidents, or external forces, right? This is not something that they started off with. This is not something that they were born with. Something happened. Oops, oops, oops. Why is that on the screen? Get out of here. All right. So that starts with an emerging meta, somebody that has powers but lacks full understanding. There's that character. Oh God, Ian Peak. His name completely escapes me. But this character right here from Batman Beyond, right? He had the power. He can kind of phase through things, but then he couldn't control it, and then he started phasing into the ground, and essentially that fool is just falling for eternity into nothingness, right? So it's a character that just can't control their powers. Arguably, well, can't use that example. That's actually for the next one. But anybody that just does not have full understanding or control of their power, right? Then you had the volatile meta, somebody that just has unpredictable, untamed power. Obviously, easy go-to would be the Hulk, would be Sentry. These characters that they have unbridled, there's uncontrollable power. That's those characters. And again, these powers happen by accident. And arguably, you could kind of argue that the Thing would fall in here, right? He can't control whether or not he's in that form or not, right? So it's an untamed force. It's an untamed power that he wields, right? Now stable meta would be somebody that has their power and they honed it through mastery and use. That'd be Spider-Man. That'd be the Flash. That'd be Static, where they actually took the time, they've learned it, and really there's not really much that they don't understand about their powers, right? It's just about learning new ways to utilize it, but they completely understand what it is that they can and can't do with their abilities. So a lot of your classic heroes kind of fall in that. I would dare say. Now, empowered, formerly known as mutant, but obviously, words mean things, right? And so diving into that, empowered is just somebody that's born with superhuman abilities. So everybody can't say everybody, but most characters in My Hero Academia fall under this, right? Obviously, the X-Men fall under this. And here's the thing, right? Where you can argue about, now we go back to that Kryptonian comment I made a little while ago. Their bodies have an alien physiology, right? It's something that when they go to a different planet, the way that their body reacts to yellow sunlight, it affects them. So it's something that their body already can do. But now the question is, right? And here's where we can have this case by case kind of really deeper conversation, right? Would that make them empowered, or would that make them a meta character, right? Because now it's an external force that they didn't have inherently, but their body innately, their cells, is something that already had the capability of doing that, right? So that would just be an alien physiology, not an external force that changed them completely, if that makes sense, right? So the different tiers in that regard, you have latent power beginning to manifest. Easy go to Kid Shigaraki. His power started to activate, couldn't do nothing about it. He was just tearing people up with his powers, right? Develop power, understands the power, but still learning the full scope of said power. Bakugo, right? Or any of the characters in My Hero Academia, for real, as they're learning how to do that. Then we got the Apex powered characters, fully trained, powers completely honed, they completely understand it. So very similar to when we was talking about in the meta side of things. They know what they're doing with their power. Storm is my good example in that regard. Most of the mutants, quite honestly, they know what they're doing with their abilities at this point. There's nothing that you can tell them that they don't know about their powers, right? And so next up, we have supernatural, right? So these characters are magic-infused humans/aliens. They're spirit wielders or divine conduits, right? And so Our 3 tiers for that, starting from the bottom. 6C, that's Awakened Mystic. Magic finds them, not the other way around. And oh, there he is. My fault. I don't know how long you've been sitting there, but I apologize. Boom. What's going on, boss man?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, dude. So we are on tier 6 right now. How long were you sitting there just now?
I just signed in.
Oh, okay.
So before you do that, because I'm on my phone, but I got it like facing me, so I gotta wait on my laptop so I can see what you're talking about. So give me
Okay.
1 second.
I'm just now noticing.
Oh yeah, I was out there, man. You know what I'm saying? You saw it.
Uh-oh. The only problem is you're kind of. We need to try to flip you. Can you flip your phone?
Hold on. How's it
There
look
you
now?
go. That's perfect. That's
Hold on,
perfect.
because I had it flipped already. Hold on, man. So when I turn it to sideways, it don't flip for me.
Nah.
Yeah, that's
When
kind of
you did
cheap.
it when you did it just now, I'm like, okay, now everything's solid now.
All right. Well, first of all, pause. But hold on 1 second.
There you go.
Let me just change that. Jump.
Diabolical.
I can actually sign up on my laptop. Hold on 1 second, bro. Sign in on my laptop as well. And don't confuse the clutter. As you see, I'm in the new improved man cave that's coming to life right now.
Okay. Tori Hopkins, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, dude? Hope you've been all right. So we are very quick intermission, and while he's finishing setting up, all that you've missed, we're on tier 6 right now. But to give a real quick recap, I'll go back really quick. So obviously we have our own tiering system. I say obviously, but we have our own tiering system. We are slowly, dare I say, becoming or stepping into the mission of becoming the authority on whether or not how to scale characters, right? How to scale indie characters. There was a redundancy, in my opinion, in regard. There's a redundancy, in my opinion, on scaling systems as a whole right now, right? A lot of time, you'd be like, "Oh, this character is nuclear level," and then we start talking about the stats, and it's like, "Yeah, he can lift a car and all this other stuff." It's like, well, he can punch entire buildings. I don't need a double take on destructive capability. I want to know what the character is. So our tiering system focuses on who and what the character actually is, and then when we get to the stats, you can tell us what all they can do. Okay. And so with that being said, really quick, really fast version as Lonzo's getting set up here. And again, if you guys have any questions as it relates to what I'm discussing, if there's a specific nuance, specific character, specific thing that you have questions about that doesn't quite make sense to you, please drop your question, comment, concern in the chat, and let's get to it. But in that regard, so tier 10 for us, right? And again, this reminds me of what is a street tier character, right? There's a lot of misunderstanding, right, in that regard. So this is just kind of to finish off that kind of comment, right, in regards to figuring out who and what they are. For us, tier 10 is a human or alien that doesn't have any supernatural, psychic, or enhanced trait whatsoever. They're just the regular version of their race. There's nothing special. They just exist, right? So that would be my examples, right? 10C is civilian, just a regular person trying to survive. That's Foggy Nelson, right? That's Jimmy Olsen. That's Lois Lane, regular folk. 10B is a capable human, so skilled and trained, but again, they're still I put still human. Obviously, again, equate aliens into that. Again, if their physiology isn't anything completely different or crazy, but this is somebody that has some boxing, right? Some tech, whatever, like some kind of thing that makes them capable. That just the regular person that's just kind of going through their day to day. Somebody that's actually That's somewhat set apart, right? But not peak physical character, which is the next one, 10A. Peak human, master of mind and body. They're pushing those human limits. That's your Batman's, right? And then that prior example was someone like the Question, right? So very quick version, right? Next up, we're at tier 9. We have enhanced. That's somebody that's technologically or cybernetically augmented. And so examples from that would be Bucky Barnes, Misty Knight in regards to 9C. 9B would be mech suits or armored units, right? I got that backwards again. Armored suits or mech units. So that goes from using the Brotherhood of Steel in their power armor. That's Iron Man. That's guys that pilot Gundams, right? They all fall in that. And then we have or even like I used as an example prior to, that's even Android 16, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, right? But then 9A would be somebody that's the perfect synergy between man and machine. That would be Android 17 and 18 because again, in the manga they are C17 and C18, right? They're actually cyborgs, right? There's a human component there. They've been androids, right? That's RoboCop, that's Cyborg, that's those versions of the androids. There's that human component to it. And then so that's that. Next up we had tier 8, which is meta. Those are characters that gained their powers through science, accidents, or external forces, right? And so 8C would be somebody that doesn't have a full understanding of their power. 8B would be somebody that has unpredictable or untamed power, like the Hulk or Sentry, right? And then 8A would be a stable meta, somebody that's their power, they honed this power through mastery and use. That's Spider-Man, Flash, Static, those type of characters. And arguably, right? Not even arguably, Captain America would fall under this, right? The super soldier serum. This is an external, this is a scientific thing that gave him that peak human strength, right? And capabilities or what have you. And then tier 7, and then we'll get started proper with now he got up and walked away. All right. So tier 7, empowered, born with superhuman abilities, or they have an alien physiology. And so this is again we had that kind of very interesting nuanced conversation, right? Because we talked about baseline, something that's human or alien. You can argue, right? The Kryptonians, until they got into the yellow sunlight, like they're just regular folk, right? They're just regular. But because their body has an innate ability that changes them when they get under the yellow sun, right? That's what gives them that alien physiology, right? The Saiyans, although they have tails, they have the ability to transform into an Azaru, right? So that's something that would be an alien physiology. Now, arguably, right, and again, reason why we wanted to cover all bases with the human and alien aspect, but the minute any one of these human characters leave and goes to another planet and settles another planet, they are alien to that world. They're not from that world, right? So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to kind of be inclusive in that regard, right? But there are some characters that just, in regards to us creating characters, right? There are some alien races or species or entities that we create and we just have regular versions of them and there's nothing different about them from you or I, right? Maybe the skin color is different, but internally they work exactly the same, right? And so, anywho, with that being said, an empowered character is somebody that is born with their ability. So you have characters that their powers are starting to manifest, they don't have any control over it. I have Kid Shigaraki as the example in that regard. We have Bakugo as the example of a character that's got to develop power. They understand their power, but they're learning the full scope of said power. And again, I use Bakugo, but that's any of the characters that's learning their abilities in My Hero Academia, or even characters in Marvel or DC that are just now gaining these powers and learning how to utilize them. An apex power is somebody that's fully trained, and their powers are completely honed. Really, any of the X-Men, right? But Storm is my example here. And now we have come all the way back around full circle on tier 6. Welcome back, good sir.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo. So, man, he got the he got the Star-Lord joint on.
Star-Lord, man. You know how I do, man.
Listen. So, now let me ask you. I've done the real quick recap. Now I know you were getting sorted out just now. Do you have any questions so far in regards to the first 5 that we've kind of sped run through, if you would.
No, not at all. Everything kind of reads clearly, reads good. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So let's take a look here. So we're on tier 6 now. These are the characters that magic infused, alien. I just realized that it's not showing my screen right now. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So tier 6, supernatural. So these are magic infused humans or aliens, spirit wielders, or divine conduits. So bottom rung of this, awakened mystics. So magic finds them, not the other way around. Perfect example to that for me is Ket Nelson, Dr. Fate. Ket Nelson doesn't have anything inherently magical about him. He wears the helmet of Naboo, and he becomes Dr. Fate. The end. We move to 6B. These are practice mystics, right? So skilled in rituals, relics, and spells. That's your Constantines, right? That's your Ravens, right? And now you have high mystics, channels ancient or divine magic. That's your Doctor Strange, right? So there's different aspects of these characters. And again, they've evolved throughout time. So arguably, these guys can be interchangeable. But some of the base kind of understanding or base versions of the characters that we see at the very least start off in these sort of categories now. Of, hey, this guy can do these things. They can use rituals or whatever like that. Or Doctor Strange channeling the Bashanti, right? There's different levels to magic, and that's what's been somewhat expressed here. And again, as we're going through this, I don't think we have another people watching to do the Kahoot thing, so we'll dive right into actually tiering the characters once we finish. But yeah, so I will ask you this question, Lonzo, when we get to that point. When we get to actually tiering, I want you to think about where Zuriel would place on this tier list.
She might be a A for sure.
She might be 6A. Valid. Okay.
Well, yeah, because sort of like Doctor Fate, with
Mhm.
the helmet. Once she picked up those weapons, she was imbued.
Okay.
You
So
know what I
that's
mean?
6C. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's 6C.
I'm going from lowest rung up. So, okay.
Oh,
Go back.
so A is channels, B is practices, and C is
Magic finds
awakened.
them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you.
So next up, we have ascended beings. So beings who have surpassed humanity through transformation. I got a typo there, or rebirth. So starting at 5C, post-human, no longer recognizable as a fully human or alien character, right? Something that's so far away from what they started off as. That's your swamp things, right? Reality warped, power twist the world around them. Very easy person, Dr. Manhattan, right? And then God touched, humans given the power or born from gods. And so, again, if we go back, because this was a question that we had during a panel that we did, right? Is an external force that? By definition, right? Yeah, getting powers from the gods could be an external thing, but we wanted to keep in regards to meta as something that is something that humanity or something that still exists, I suppose, within our realm of existence, right?
Hmm.
Um, 9 times out of 10, the gods come from something beyond us, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we had something that's like, hey, they are so set apart, right? That nothing we could have done would have garnered that level of power or that type of energy or that type of thing. Meta is something like the Fantastic Four. That's just cosmic rays, right? That's something that exists on this plane, right? The gods are
Right.
not something that arguably isn't something that's part of our plane of existence. Now, we can talk about the Asgardians, we can talk about these other beings that exist and stuff like Marvel and say that they are gods, right? Whole nother thing. We can talk about the definition of those and where they lay in those respective universes. But as it regards to indie characters, as it relates to how we're tiering stuff, if your character gets the power from the gods or born of the gods, ascendant is where your characters are. And our example would be Shazam. Next, we have mythic characters, beings that would just be considered gods or lesser gods, right? So now we're away from the, human or alien now. No, these characters are like we just talked about. These are the Asgardians at this point. These are
Mhm.
those characters. So bottom rung of this, the eternal champion, immortal yet tethered to the rules of the universe. That's Odin. 4B, cosmic force, necessary for the balance of the universe. This is Galactus, right? 4A, a world shaper, creator of worlds and universes. This is Mr. Mitsopitilit. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Batmite, right? A lot of people just go ahead and shorten it and they say Mr. Mixie, right? So we got
Yeah.
Mr. Mixie and Batmite. Those are those, what are they, fifth dimensional imps, right? Um, these guys are insanely powerful, right? And they don't. This is back to that planes of existence conversation. They're so far apart that they might as well be considered. If we saw them, we're like, these are gods at this
Right.
point.
Right.
Excuse me. And so here we are in the final three tiers. We have transcendent, right? And entities detached from mortal form or logic. These beings truly are timeless. So 3C, we have the high observers, right? These should be easy examples, right? But they see everything, rarely interfere. That's your watchers. That's the monitors, right? The cosmic governors, right? Is 3B. So those are characters that oversee the laws of the universe. That's the living tribunal. That's the specter. 3A, these are multiform entities, right? So they exist in all places, times, or states. Easy example is the Phoenix Force, right? The Phoenix Force, it's the same Phoenix Force. It might be different aspects of the Phoenix Force, but it's the same whole, right? Arguably, same thing with I'm not saying that the Flying Nimbus would be here, but to give you another example of something that just exists apart from the portion that we see, the Flying Nimbus in Dragon Ball got destroyed. And then Goku goes to Korn, and he's just like, "Oh, here's a gift for you." He basically there's a bigger cloud that they pull the Nimbus clouds from, right? And so although they destroyed one, the whole still exists. And so same thing with the Phoenix Force, just 10x that
Yeah.
shit, right? Like it exists across the multiverse, and although whatever happens with one portion of it does not affect the fact that it exists in all places, all times, all states.
Mhm.
Now we have dimensional characters. So again, these are characters, even furthermore, they're not bound to time, space. They travel through timelines, universes, and planes. So dimensional jumpers, that's Trigon. He can move through various worlds and realms and what have you.
Right.
2D, dimensional destroyers. That's characters that can tear through dimensions and realities. That's the antimatter. It's literally his entire thing, his entire job. And then you have a dimensional manipulator. They're able to shape realities like fabric. That's Perpetua. That's the World Forger. If you remember the World Forger popping up and basically showing them a faux world of a peaceful world where the Justice League did everything that they set out to do and everything was fine and dandy. And like literally, this guy swings his hammer and now a new reality is in existence, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then lastly, tier one is conceptual embodiments of ideas, truths, or laws. They are not people, they are forces. And so, one C would be an eternal echo. Those are powers that can be harnessed. That's the anti life equation. That's the speed force. Arguably, I would say, arguably, um, and maybe I don't have a full understanding, but correct me if I'm wrong. I would argue that the Kokora force would fall in here, right? Where it's something that can be harnessed.
Yeah, the
Um,
core force can be harnessed, but sort of like how you explain the Phoenix Force. It's kind of how the
mhm.
core is. It's you need it for a universe to
To
exist.
exist. Now, is it let me ask you this, and anybody that's watching, you're getting a little bit of extra knowledge here in regards to the Acolyte story, but is the Kokora Force a sentient entity that's providing that energy, or is it just an energy that is that exists out there that people are able to, or that the Supremes are able to connect to?
It's an energy that manifested into a sentient like Abner. You know what I'm saying?
Ah,
But it all
okay.
comes from. It's like if we were making a cake and we had like different elements that
Hmm.
needed to be in that cake. It's one of them. You know what I'm
I
saying?
see.
And
Okay.
and it it manifested into something that is physical, but it's really like it's basically dark matter. That's what the Kokora is, dark
Okay.
matter. It's the word core is the manipulation of dark matter.
Oh,
I call it the
okay.
core force, but that's really what it is. So you need dark matter to put objects in. You know what I'm saying? It is
Hmm.
there's dark
Okay.
matter, antimatter. There's you know what I mean.
Okay. Violet then. And
So
then what?
when you see the light from acolyte, that's just him charging dark matter. So that's why you don't
Okay.
see it until he manifests his power.
Okay. And then I think I'm comfortable then saying that this would definitely be a 1C where it's a power that can be harnessed. It exists. It
Hmm.
exists. These specific characters are able to interact with it.
Right. Right.
Okay. So then next up, we have 1B then. These are your abstract avatars. They're the fundamental concepts given form. So characters like death, characters like eternity, and to shout out another indie situation, that's literally justice in a Trinian justice, right? Because the sword is a sentient entity that's been given form, but it also projects an energy that can be harnessed, right? But the sword of justice is an avatar of justice in its given form. They can use that harness and harness that energy as well. So it can fall somewhere between 1B and 1C, but because it is a sentient, it's a concept given sentience and decided to share its power, that then makes it an avatar of that thing, but
Hmm.
also is a power that can be harnessed. And then
That's
1A, that is a primordial force. Those are cosmic truths made manifest. That's literally God. That is the presence. That's the one above all. They made everything. They are the beginning. There is nothing that supersedes these characters. So whatever the God of your universe is, something that whatever the big G of your verse is, right? We
fine.
have characters that can be considered gods, the self-proclaimed gods, the powers that rival the gods. We are talking about characters that if you destroyed the universe, the omniverse, the slick tie in the power verse, right? Like these verses that exist so far outside of the concept of what a universe, what reality is, right? They are there. They exist
Right.
there. They created the concept of life, of death, or they are those things, but nothing exists before them and nothing exists after them. These things are truly infinite. That's what the primordial forces are in this regard. And so,
Hmm.
so that's
So
our tiering system.
primordial forces would be like that'd be like in our universe that'd be like Cosmosa, and
Exactly.
Monatus.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Um, can I pull this up on this one? Hold on. I have a uh I need to refresh the page because it's not doing what I needed to do. But yeah, so that's Cobb's Mimosa. That's I was gonna say Monetus, but I don't think so with Monetus, right?
Oh yeah, he right up there with her. He can
Okay,
see any and all realities and possibilities throughout the entire multiverse. You know,
got you.
and he can just he's not in none of them. He's just observes, sees them all.
Okay. 1 second, y'all. I am there we go. There that is. Uh-oh. What does it say? Oh, I understand. That's fair. Yeah. If you want, do you mind changing that for me? I don't know. Whatever. Whatever you suggest. So really quick. Oh, I
Mhm.
see. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna share this tab instead. And so what we're going to get ready to do, and this is gonna be fun. We're gonna go through and um we're going to tier these characters. Some are from the database, some are just characters that got dropped. Um, I think I'm going to stick with the database ones and some of the ones that we just recently talked about in battles recently, because some of these characters were dropped on the post, but I don't think the creators are here to explain to us what they are. So I don't want to be playing the guessing game in that regard. So with that being said, is the screen up? The screen is up. So I really wanted to do a Kahoot game to make sure to hammer it in, but it's all good. Because
Good.
we asked
How
questions.
how
Hmm?
many are we doing? Are we doing all of them, or are we just doing a couple to kind of
Um.
just place it out?
Oh yeah, we're just gonna play some out. Yeah. Yeah, and actually, you know what? I think I could share this list, and you can add your characters to it as well. Again, I think I just grabbed characters that were already on, um, or most of the characters that were already on the database. Oh goodness, can I'm sure I can share this. Mm-mm-mm. I don't think. Click da 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 da. And to share on Facebook, but I'll tell you what, I'm gonna share this to you as well,
Hmm.
and let me know if I'll just send the link. Let me know. I'll send it to you on Discord, and let me know if you're able to go in and add and or edit or what have you. Because that'd be fire. That'd be fire if people could just add their own character to it. Um, it might be chaotic, but we'll see.
Might
But
it might get a little chaotic. I ain't gonna
yeah,
lie.
but I'll send it to you. Just let me know if you can, and then maybe maybe we'll keep that link in house and then make edits and stuff like that accordingly. But anywho, all that to be said,
Hmm.
let's start with, and I see my boy Acolyte out here. Let's start with Acolyte. Oh,
Uh,
and that's what I'm gonna say in regards to the Kahoot thing, because we have some trick questions in there, right? In regards to that. So, oh, this fly is pissing me off. Hold on. So,
uh,
um, sorry, it just keeps popping up like right in my face, and I'm just like, all right now. But yeah, so like we asked the question, right? Uh, what would Krillin be on the power scaling side? Um, and so not to belabor a point, but in regards to our power scaling, Krillin would be a baseline character. Why? Right? You're like, well, all the things that Krillin can do, he surely would be an empowered character, and it's like no, because every character in Dragon Ball, every being in Dragon Ball can use ki. That's a baseline. There's nothing innately special. Ki is just the outward expression of one's life force. That's what Roshi said it was, right?
hmm.
So he's just a regular guy that could use ki, right? So he would probably
Yeah.
be peak human, right? He's trained as strong as a human can get, and then his stats would be completely different from, say, a Batman, right?
Hmm.
Um, but there's nothing special. He's not an alien, right?
I don't think he would be too different from Batman. Really, he's just
Right.
Shang Chi.
Exactly.
Shang
But
Chi,
in their
Iron
world,
Fist.
ki,
You know what I mean?
right, ki could be harnessed. That's how they're able to do all these things, right? So then One Punch Man, right? Where would One Punch Man be? He also would be in the same tier as Krillin. He's a regular guy. He's a regular guy. Now, when we start talking about what his stats are in regards to durability, in regards to strength, that's where he
Yeah.
gets set apart. But understanding what he is makes a conversation a lot. It hones in the conversation a little better because we're like, oh, he's a gad character, or he's the comic relief. He's this one thing here, right?
Hmm.
But what is he? He's a human being. So arguably, you could starve this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Arguably,
You can start
Avatar Aang can beat
throw him
him.
in a dungeon that he can't get out of. You know.
Right. Arguably, the Avatar can kill the One Punch Man because he can just take the air out of his system. He can blood bend him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
yes, he's ridiculously strong. Yes, if we're just
First,
talking straight
I don't know
physics,
if blood. I don't know if blood bending is gonna work on One Punch Man, man. You know,
maybe
he's he's just too ridiculous. You know what
he is ridiculous. He is ridiculous, but
I
he's a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, do they survive some ridiculous things? Sure. Has he trained
Yeah.
his body to a point where he's because he's fought in space before, right? So all the stuff that comes with that, arguably to your point, yeah. At that point, now we're talking about echelons of power. That no, the Avatar's not dealing with that, but he did have to hold his breath when he went and jumped off the moon, right?
He
So
held his
arguably,
breath,
he does need air,
but he didn't freeze.
but he didn't
He
freeze
didn't.
because
He didn't.
outwardly his body he was able to maintain that. But then, yeah, to your point, anyway. At the end of the day, but these are the fun conversations now because it's just like, so he is human. Now let's look at how far that durability takes him. But at the end of the day, take Kakashi, right? He drops him in the combo, or not Kakashi. Take Obito. We're talking about Naruto at the moment. He drops him in that other dimension. Is One Punch Man strong enough to break out of that dimension? Have we seen him do something like that? Okay, well now we know he's stuck in there. He can't live forever because he's a regular guy. He starves with death. Game over, right? And so now we can start having actual conversation of he could do everything versus actually understanding there is certain limitations to where he is placed. He's still a regular guy. He's strong. He's the strongest guy in his verse, arguably, right? Because he's the main character, right? He's the strongest guy, but he's still just human, right? Which doesn't take away from how powerful he is, but it gives us the understanding of what he is. So, anywho, all that to say, so there were some trick questions and stuff in there, but all to further understand, well, who is this character? What is this character? So, with that being said, and if we need to go back over any of those, tell me, where would Acolyte stand on the list? Again, our standards are tier 10, which is baseline. Then we have enhanced, meta, empowered, supernatural, ascended, so on and so forth. From your recollection,
I don't know. When I was looking at ascended, empowered, and meta, those kind of spoke to me a little bit.
Okay. Now I will say that I don't think meta, because meta,
born with it, you know what I mean?
So he was born with it. So for us, that would be empowered.
Mm-hmm.
But the argument now is, what is Abner? What is Abner?
Abner is like an abstract. He's like, if I can compare him, it's similar to like Galactus, if you will. If you got an understanding of like his existence, well, not even similar to Galactus, because he was a regular person at a time, then he became an entity. So it's more like it's more like an Infinity Stone if it was a person.
Okay,
that's what Abner and his people are.
Okay, and I don't know if this is spoilers or anything, but what is his role? Because him and Acolyte are related. How? If you could explain the circumstance of Acolyte's lineage, that would help hone in what he is to answer this tier question.
Oh, well, Abner had made it with a human lady that he found pretty dear to his soul, and a lot of time passed, and his genes finally popped up in the bloodline, which was Acolyte. And now Acolyte's blood shares the same DNA as Abner. So he is able to access and harness Kokora energy and manipulate his cells and do things that are extraordinary. And he can, when activated, he can basically be immortal. Well, he can also live out regularly like a human as well. So it's almost like a light switch.
Okay. So this is a fun one because, yes, you can argue empowered. He was born with these powers. He had two human parents, but he is still descendant of what is essentially the gods of your verse.
Right.
So definitely I'm placing him in ascendant. Because again, those are beings who have surpassed humanity through transformation or rebirth, with 5A being humans given the power or born from the gods.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was leaning towards, because he didn't have to gain it through like training or nothing like that. It just had to be awakened.
Got you. Okay. I got another concrete one for you right quick. Well, before I do that, since we're talking about it, Soul's an easy one. Obviously, exact same category. Literally gets the powers from Amon and Ra, right? Now, their powers got assimilated into him in the womb. He started off as human, and then Amon Ra tried to find a new human host, and the powers merged with him while he was in the womb. So arguably, he's a human given the power of the gods versus being born from the gods. So now, so going to another concrete one here. Let's do solar.
Uh-oh.
Solar comes from the Photarians, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So arguably then, going back through my list here, so that's he would be empowered because they're not gods, right? They're aliens, and he just ended up on Earth.
Not
Um,
necessarily. Not necessarily. Now, I don't want to spoil the story too much, but
yeah, let's not do that. I just want to know heritage wise.
when you think about the Photerian spark and that energy, that is a cosmic energy. That's more like that's a very powerful energy, sort of like what what is fire, right? What is it? What is it on a universal scale, not how we view it as humans.
Hmm.
So he was one that was selected to kind of carry that and bear that, you know,
Hmm.
born with the spark. So he
Mm.
could be ascendant as well, um,
Is it?
but it's
Mm,
not godly. It's not God given. It's more universal.
okay.
The same thing. It's kind of like the Kokora, but more like how we view the Phoenix Force a little bit. Like it's like you know what I mean?
Is hmm, okay. I'm trying to think then because now, okay, let me ask this. Is it like well, you said like the Phoenix Force then? You said like the Phoenix Force. So here's what I'm leaning towards because is the Photerian spark a sentient force?
Yes.
It is a sentient being. Okay. So yeah, he'd also be here. Um because I was gonna say if not, then I would be like kind of similar to Speed Force, and I'm a little behind on Flash in regards to
Mhm.
what the Speed Force has evolved itself into at this point, right?
Who knows what it is now, man?
Who knows what it
It's
is?
probably a you know what I mean some guy that got a job now.
Because I'm wondering, and again, I don't want you to spoil the story in any capacity, but was Solar born with? Now you said he was chosen, but semantics on that was
Yeah.
what at his inception was the Potarian spark imbued into him, or did this come after?
Well, well, I would say he is part alien because his
Okay.
his father is definitely Photerian. They're not of Earth. You know what I'm saying? His
Okay.
mother's from Earth, so he's definitely alien. But
Mm.
that that spark, that Fahrenheit force, that Photerian,
Fahrenheit force. Oh my God.
you know,
Yeah.
that is something that the Photerians need to survive. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Hmm.
They're a race that needs extremely hot temperatures to sustain. So
Okay.
they got to worship things like as hot as the sun, and they kind of harness that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Sort of like how Aquaman and them are with water. That's how they
Hmm.
are with fire. You know what I mean?
Okay. So here's the crazy part. I'm somewhere between 7 and 5. But I
Hmm.
think because he has the spark, that ascends him to 5, with the rest of the Patarians being tier 7 being empowered because of that alien physiology. And they do have power, but a god isn't giving them the power. They aren't born from that, but the Fatarian spark gives Solar that edge and brings him up a little higher on the tier list. Okay.
It's kind of like we as humans would view the Photerians like how Marvel views the Kree and the Scrolls.
Okay.
They're, they're aliens. They're not that much different from us, but
Hmm.
kind of like how Kalon is. He's a Nilosian, but he's
Mm-hmm.
me and if he was with us, he'd be arrested like a black man. That's it. Cops will view
Okay.
him as a
Ah, okay.
so that, and that's similar with the Photarians as well. You can you know you can they're aliens. They might be a little bit stronger than us, but maybe that's because of their environments. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily. It's more situational because kind of like if we go to Krypton, we could
Mm-hmm.
probably punch Superman right in his face, right? Because
Facts.
they just regular people there. Is
Right.
their genetics change when they go somewhere else? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and scrolls and Kree are naturally stronger than us, just naturally. That's just it's kind of like a gorilla and a human. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Okay. I can dig it then. Okay. So we got three ascendants so far. I'm going to switch it up here. I think we both already know about Zuriel. She's definitely supernatural.
I ain't
And
gonna
again,
lie.
we would do. Hmm?
The next, how many Midnight in Concrete characters is in here?
Um, I think I got more midnight in here than anything.
Okay,
Gago is on here.
guy goes in here. Let's do it. He is on the Kizant. Um,
Yeah.
so I gotta
I
add
don't know much about him, but I know he's up there.
I gotta add Primate in them on this John too.
You do. If you don't mind, you could send me um you could send me the images and I can go ahead and add it on here now.
All right, say less. But yeah, no. When it comes to Gago, he up there, bro. Wherever you got,
Like he's mythic, I think, right? Like he's a
yeah.
necessary balance,
From what
right?
from what I understand, he's not like a human or nothing.
No.
He's
Like
like
he did that
already there.
tiering thing on his first in that first issue and talked about like the creation of the verse and the
Yeah,
placement of the gods and stuff, and like how he's
they're
one of
almost
those
like
beings that
gods of
that's
destruction,
destructive.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're almost like they serve a purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would yeah he ain't transcended or ascended. He just is.
He is.
So he
And
yeah
so what we'll do, because I don't want to, because obviously there's three subsections. We know that, right? But I don't want to have tier 10A, tier 10B, tier 10C to just add more clutter on here. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm just going to make a graphic similar to these images, right? And just put that on the rung next to them. So say conversation, move souls, right? But imagine that says tier 6B, right? And it'll be right here. So everything after that will tell you that's what these characters are. I don't want to overcomplicate the
I think it's cool right now, like how it is, because
yeah.
once
Because I
once people go into the details of what tier 5 is, and they can see, oh, okay, he must be T 5A or 5B. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it just as
that's
far as just
valid.
a graphic, this is just easier for people to
Easier to understand.
understand.
Okay.
You know what I
So
mean?
you caught me ahead of time because you know how I do. I was
No,
about
yeah,
to
yeah,
ask
I know.
the shovel scientist here.
I know. Just going crazy.
Here you go.
I'm
Love.
I'm about to text you
Here's
this. I
here's my paper.
know. I know, right? So here's yeah, I mean, here's
The
what we
world
got
the
going on.
world is crumbling apart. How much time do we have?
3 minutes.
I
3 minutes.
need a
The
flight to
tidal wave is
Dubai
about to hit
now.
India. For some reason,
Right.
the tidal wave is always gonna hit. I mean,
Every
some
time.
tidal wave in India. You know, what I mean, gonna take out the top scientists in the world.
Ugh. Um. So the gray, really quick, fun one. She would like. Does she have the gloves that she's created? Yes, but quite honestly, she a regular person. Her body's not augmented. She doesn't need the gloves. That's just equipment that she happens to have on her person. She's a regular person, and quite honestly, she's the lowest rung of person. She's 10C. She's a civilian that want to be a part of the action.
Hmm.
Um, but she ain't. She's mentally capable, right? So arguably, you could put her in 10B, but she's nowhere near peak human, right? Her mind as well. If we only say, let me go back to my own definition. Let me not misspeak and downplay my character here. Um, well, we have master of mind and body for 10A. So I would argue if we're to use that same mindset for 10B of, you know, trained, skilled in her field,
Hmm.
capable human, the gray would be 10B. Physically, she's 10C. She does not work out. She has no fight
Right.
training, nothing. But she's insanely smart. Um, um, who else do we know beyond a shadow of a doubt here? Yeah, you have to send me some pictures. I'm realizing that I don't have.
No, no, no. I'm sending them to you right now. I can
All
send
right,
them to you on
Discord
Facebook
or
Messenger.
Facebook. All right,
Yeah, I'll send them Jones on Messenger.
all right.
I'm just seeing. I'm just making sure I got the ones I wanted.
And I'll pull that up on my laptop here.
Sent them.
Okay, bet. Okay, so let me get those, and then yeah, we'll focus heavy on Midnight and Concrete here, and then I can play the guessing game with most of these characters, um, and then let the people decide, or the creators inform us based on what we talked about today, whether or not these characters fit. Okay, Organic Chrissy, yep. Watchmen,
Yep, yep.
Sith Row. All right, say less. Boom. All right. Oh, I'm bugging. I was like, wait, let me close Facebook out. No, 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 no.
No, no, not yet, nigga.
You about, hold on, he about to say some more.
Not yet. I said we ain't done yet. Party just got started, man.
He said it's not over, not yet. Um, okay, Velez. That's a good one. I would love to do another version of the Mother of Chaos event. Quite honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I would love
I
to.
I enjoyed the Mother Chaos event, man. That joint was
Right.
pretty glorious, man. It was very. I think that's the perfect. That was a perfect villain set to do something like that with.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Oh. Here we go.
I can't wait to drop my girl Pegasus, man.
Mm. Hold on. I just need to sign into the.
Can't wait to put Miss Peggy on the line, man.
Mm-mm. To edit or move, I don't need to move. I need to sign in and just add these characters. Again, anybody watching? Extra questions.
Yeah,
Let's
drop
see.
some
Click here.
questions, man. Let's talk these tears.
And if you have a character, drop it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
I ain't gonna lie. You know, I think what we should do that'd be dope on the next show. We
What's up?
maybe we next show we just go we pick like two categories and just stay in that realm. So if it's like street tier,
I agree.
then we'll just go straight there. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Cause yeah,
Because we got a lot.
yeah, it's a lot of cats in here, man.
All right. So there we go. I'm adding them now. And then I should just be able to refresh this page. Maybe. Oh, I didn't realize that okay, yeah, so it's not taking from here. So hold on. Maze from 615 Comics was here. I needed more information on Hellhawk, but I'm still gonna put him here because I don't know if that's if he would be enhanced with that suit, if that's the entire point of his character or not. And then Blue Morpho, she would be here. She would be closer to 10B, 10A as well. She's a gymnast.
Mm.
So she's quite up there. Okay. And now I'm gonna can I save? Let's save. Oh. Current. I don't know how to turn on. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. So can I just go back? Can it be there? Yeah. But is the new characters there? Yes. Okay. So let's go to yeah.
Uh-oh, I see her.
Now we're Sifro. Sifro we just talked about. We got him on enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but seeing that we just talked about him, I also got to put my boy Taharka. Bam. So
So we
those two
got some
characters again.
enhanced in the
Anybody
building.
that's watching?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's they both use the whole point of their characters is they're utilizing tech as part of their entire persona for real. So they fit in there. Um, let's do and what we'll do is we'll just keep alternating between Midnight and Concrete. If there's a character from the rest of the list that we do know off rip, like I just saw him. Oh my gosh, I was just looking at him. Oh, your boy Jupiter Man. Arguably, he got his power from the gods, so he would be here alongside a Soul Acolyte. Soul, excuse me,
Yeah.
he'd be right in there. Born with abilities, we've got Vibrant. That character would be empowered, right? His entire family would be empowered, right? They were all born with those abilities. Atridian, he's up there. Hmm. I
Atridian,
would say,
Atridian would be ascended too, wouldn't he? Because he got his
yeah,
powers. Like he wasn't born like that. He was kind of just chosen.
right,
He could,
yeah,
yeah, he was chosen. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Given the power of the gods, yeah, yeah, he'd be right there as well. Um, the characters from Anthony Mormon's character, I believe his story is called oh gosh, was it Wildman Comics?
Mm-hmm.
Wildman Publishing. Yeah, Wildman Publishing. Most of his characters, if I remember correctly, were experimented on. So all of these characters would be meta characters.
All of
So
them would
I'm
be meta,
yeah,
huh?
all of them, all of them.
Had them
They all
boys.
have varying abilities, like shape shifting or just super strength or what have you. But they all and they're easy to find because they dang near they all have the fits on that they had when they were being experimented on.
Mm-hmm.
Except for this character. This character here is just extremely smart. I don't believe he was experimented on, so he would be here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so to pivot back to our characters here, let's do Watchmen. Watchmen, where I'm also kind of somewhat testing you as well, if you remember.
That's
Where's Watchmen?
He'd be enhanced.
Enhanced?
But he
Are you
might.
sure?
I don't. You know what? I guess he's enhanced, but he was born with it in him already. Pause.
There you go. So enhanced is for people that have their power. That's technologically or cybernetically augmented.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't be there. But you're on the right track, right? His dad would fall into meta because his dad wasn't born with it, but he arguably was. So he
So
would
he would be
probably be.
empowered.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because he didn't have to get like injected with nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was just
Um,
born.
hmm. I need. Let's see. So I have a character, a
There's another
Seaman.
one I'm about to send you too. That's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
dope. Yeah, I think you'll like to place this one. I don't. I want to test your knowledge, Coach.
Test my knowledge. Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
want to see. I want to see where you at with it now. You know what I mean, Coach?
Okay.
You feel me? Feel me, cat? Where is that? Hold on. I'm sending it right now.
And I'm just going to confidently go ahead and place Cosmos or Monitus right there in tier one. We just talked about them. They're practically the gods of the verse. So they're going there. Um, my boy Kalaraja from the Unbeloved Stories. He'd probably be right here in tier two. Okay. 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 Light work. So let me add them.
It ain't light work, man. You know what I'm saying?
I want
That's
to see where
lightweight.
you put my boy, man.
All right.
Where you put my boy, Mr. Antonius.
Let me see. Let me choose that. And then it's still downloading? Hold on. Okay. There they are. Oh, okay. They just got mixed up in there. Hold on. One and two. Uh, what? There we go. All right. So let me hit the submit button there. Okay. And then I should be able to just refresh this. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. So I've been put to task here.
Well, well,
So here,
well. Before you do that task, where you putting organic Chris?
organic Chrissy, if I remember correctly, was she born with those powers?
She unlocked them. Think it's sort of like One Punch Man. She just worked out
Just
so
walking
much she
limiters?
unlocked something called the Apex gene. So,
Mm-hmm.
in my universe, she could be considered an Evo sapien,
Mm-hmm.
but she could be, I guess, empowered. I guess
Yeah,
empowered.
because
She didn't.
if
She
she
just
does have
unlocked.
something that's innate to her, that so like sake of conversation, right? If everybody on Earth can train as hard as she did and unlock it, then yeah, she would be baseline. But because she had something that was innately different that she was born with, she'd be tier 7 in power.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we could just work out and lock that in. I think you know, yeah, yeah, it was something else that switched over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, Zyla from Ruling Hand. Shout out to Jay Wynn. Her character Zyla would be baseline. Now, she is fighting in Gehenna, which is essentially a purgatory esque land. So, does she end up having items or equipment that are magic in nature? Yes. Is she magic in nature? No. Do these outfits add anything to her person? Is she able to utilize magic? No, not quite. Just she picked up an item. She's able to use it in that regard. Like her belt in this realm was able to do something else because of where they were, right? But is she
Hmm.
magic now? Nah, right? So I'm gonna move her there. Um, huh. Now, what we have now. I want to knock now. Let's do this. I think Tanakh falls under mythic.
He is a
He's
god.
immortal yet tethered to the rules of the universe. He's a god.
He is a god.
So
The god
yeah.
of fire. Which hope y'all ready, man. I was on the phone with Daniel the other day.
Uh-oh.
That issue 3 story is. Mm,
Okay, did we just get an unofficial announcement
mm,
to knock
mm,
number 3? Unofficially? Officially?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Um
Yep, that joint on the
all
way.
right. Now Mr. Block. Mr. Block is a regular guy if I remember correctly. And he's got a lot of resources, but he at the end of the day, he's just a very capable guy, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
he 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 would be enhanced. He was
He's got
injected
some tech
with
in
something.
him.
He injected himself with something. Uh, it's sort of to like what Sith Row has, but it's he doesn't feel pain.
Oh, okay. So
Like, he
say
don't feel
less.
no pain. He also has metal coated uh fists. His fists are metal coated on the
Say
inside.
less.
So yeah,
Okay.
and on top of that, his extreme fighting ability and prowess with the intelligence makes him extremely dangerous.
Okay. Okay, that ain't bad. And I just realized Thorn was still down here. He was in the baseline battle as well. So I'm putting him there. I didn't know that about. Okay, I didn't know that about Mr. Block. Okay, now I kind of let him.
The screen
Oh, did it freeze?
No. It's not showing the All right,
There
there
we
you
go. My bad.
go. Yep.
There we go. Um, so let me see here. Next up, let's do let me look here. Let me look here. So
How
for
about we
us,
do my boy Hopebreaker, man?
Hopebreaker, he's a regular guy, but there's some magical stuff happening with him. So we're gonna go supernatural with him, which then in turn puts Dom there as well. Um,
Dominic Toretto.
Absolutely not. Me and Tasha, when we was on a walk the other day, we had a conversation about Dom. We was like, so where is Dominic Toretto on
Dom
this
is
list?
ascended.
Right. We were like, so he's harnessing the tier one concept of family, right? And he's given this sentient power of family, thus making him a sentient.
He
We were
might be
so out of
ascended.
pocket the other day, but he is ridiculous. We was watching
He
that
up
scene when he
there.
was fighting the Marine Corps. Essentially, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Dom is up
Um,
there, man. Dom is up there.
um, this is Molly's character. The name escapes me at the moment. Hold on. Let me in case anybody is watching, you don't know, and we'll probably put this on the website indiebreakdown.com. But we have a database on there that we will utilize here soon, maybe in a different capacity. But if there's some characters that's on this list that you're like, who is this? 9 times out of 10, they are on there. Do Gooder was his name, and Do
Dude,
Gooder,
classic
yep,
name right there, man.
right. And he would be enhanced. I mean, he's got an armored suit, much like the rest of most of the characters that are on enhanced, right? Um, so yeah, he would definitely go there. Um, Street smarts, he's augmented because he's got an artificial brain, so he would be enhanced. Who else do we have? Adius from Midnight Comics here. He's gonna make his appearance in the Last Day storyline. He's definitely a supernatural character alongside of Asima. Um, and now I want to talk. Let's primate. I think he's a regular guy, but
He's
what
enhanced.
are we missing about primate?
Primate's enhanced for sure. Remember,
Really?
he's a part of the Prime program where it's a faction of super soldier serums, but they were blending it all with animal DNA, which then
Oh,
gave
so he's
them
meta then, because
yeah.
enhanced is
He was,
specifically uh like tech, but meta
oh,
is
okay,
you
yeah,
can be scientifically experimented on like Captain America or something and get. So you said super soldier serum, right? So
yeah.
that would be, yeah, the powers gained
So
through
that's
science
classified
actions
as
external forces.
enhanced. I get you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd be meta because he has his DNA has been spliced with that of an ape. So he's as strong as a silverback with agile movement and all that stuff like that. Plus,
Okay.
he's military trained. He's pretty deadly. Prime example. You saw him rip off of car doors like it's nothing.
That's valid. Yeah. That's actually absolutely valid. Now here's a fun one, right? Um when we talk about characters like Pantheon, right? So he gets his powers from an orb, or the orb of Theon, right?
Transcendent.
Transcendent. Hold on, let me hold on. Let's go over
Transcendent from
that.
the gate.
No, because he's not detached from mortal form.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I would dare say, like, so it's um
He might be. He's between transcendent
he's
and
ascendant.
conceptual. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying? Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
probably put
immortal
him here
construct.
because he was a regular guy, and then the Orbithean. So there's two orbs, if I remember correctly from the interview a while back. There's two orbs. I know there's an enemy that had um the power. So think of Shazam in this sense, right? Where the wizard gave him the powers of certain gods. I think the orb of Theon is the same thing. Where essentially I think the bad guy has like the first half of the orb, right? Pan, and then the last half, Theon, right, is what Pantheon has. powers wise. So I would dare say he'd be ascendant where he was human, transformed when he was given the power of the gods. He would be 5A.
Hmm.
Now, how that manifests, obviously, and that's where the stats would come in. How these powers manifest in each of these characters that are considered ascendant. Now we really dive into like, holy crap, like these characters are really, you know what I'm saying? Like they're really, like how it manifests really sets them apart. To not belabor a point in that regard. Um, let's do another concrete one real quick. Oh, did we just? No, we didn't just do one. We did Pantheon just now.
Who you want to do?
I think I only got one more of yours right now. Hold on. I need some more. I got Veles.
You dare do Veles, bro?
Yeah,
Where'd you
hmm.
put her?
As far as I'm aware of Veles, I think she would be empowered. She is an alien, right? She has alien physiology. She does have, her own powers and stuff like that. But I haven't seen that she's been given the powers from something that's so far apart from her. So I don't think she's a ascendant
Right.
god. I don't think she's something that is a necessary kind of balancer of the verse or anything like that. So I think she's tier 7, but her influence is what makes her so much of a problem.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to that one at all.
Um,
Let's
with that, what you
let's
got?
do my guy Kosis, man.
Kosis. So now,
How much do you know about?
Kosis is. I know that there have been some changes in the character recently, so I'm a bit ignorant to some of that. But am I bugging? I just seen him. There we go. But where I would put Kosis, I know he is. Um, he's a Zodian or half human, half Zodian, right? Unfortunate circumstances through his lineage. So he does have powers. So there's alien aspects to it. Now at the time, I think he was way more powerful um, than he is now in this official version. But with all that being said, he was born with these abilities. I'm going to give him tier 7, empowered.
Empowered?
Uh,
I think that.
mhm. Yeah, born with it. The Zodians aren't gods, they're aliens, but their powers do give them things that, as far as I remember from the original iteration, gives him the abilities to rival that of the gods, but he himself is not a god.
Hmm.
Um, Incendiary, I think, would also be empowered, a character that was born with abilities.
Hmm.
Actually, no, 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 no. He was experimented on. Meta. He was experimented on, if I remember correctly, and that's kind of why he snapped.
How
Um,
about how about Stretchisha?
oh, Stretchica?
Yeah, yeah, I thought
Yeah.
you knew it.
Um,
Stretchica.
Stretchica.
She would be meta,
She
wouldn't
was
she?
a cop. Yeah, she is an order. She was a cop. You got me diving into the recesses of my mind of the characters I've been introduced to. Hold on. She was a cop. She got shot. They used an experimental drug to save her life. And the side effect was that's how she became uh Stretchica. Her body adapted. She became stretchy to basically withstand or become durable enough to withstand those kind of uh, 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 um physical attacks, such as getting shot or punched and stuff like that.
Yo, yo, what's
Um,
going on, Ralph? How you doing?
Ralph, what's happening, bro?
Stridian, the man himself.
Uh, speaking of Atridian, we placed Atridian Justice on Ascendant, being that he got the powers from the Sword of Justice, right? So we placed him in that because he was a regular guy given the power of that. However, you have another entity in this, I believe. We already put the Sword of Justice in tier 1 as a concept. Um, and a force that can be harnessed. But there was also you had that cosmic hand situation. I don't remember if that was yours or if that was um, Spiff's, but I know you guys kind of both had conversation about it. If I remember correctly, I think it was called the Final End. Let me look. No, that was a Heartline thing. That was a Heartline thing. My bad. But with that being said, that is Ah, I want to say that would be a tier 2 situation. Um, not bound to space time, could travel through timelines, universes, or planes. I remember there was a conversation before. I think they had posted a battle before. Or he talked about it. Oh, Father Evil. Let's do that in a second. Because I know I have him on here. I believe this is him right here. Um, but yeah, as it relates to, I'll see you guys in a second. My keys are on the thing.
We were going to
One moment, y'all.
taking her stuff out her duffel bag. Did you take her water shoes off?
No. Um, in regards to the final end, I remember the fight. They were talking about how he had another character, this guy here, Theo Manis, if I remember correctly, did some sort of move across, like he was able to siphon energy from all the different versions of himself across the multiverse. And he did this kind of massive attack, he explained, and it caused the final end to get distracted from destroying other universes to come back to deal with them. And so again, that description of one, what Theo Miles was able to do to get his attention, whether intentionally or not, at the very least, to me, makes the final end a dimensional character again, and probably dimensional destroyer, something akin or on par with something like the Anti Monitor. Now, Father Evil is going to be an interesting one. Because technically I feel like he would be a concept, right? He is the embodiment of evil, right? So much like justice, he's an aspect that can be harnessed, but also does have a sentient and physical. Is sentient and has a physical form. So I think I'd place Father Evil there, and I think that's his picture. Hold on, I'm double checking on the database here that maybe I make sure I didn't click on the wrong character. Um, But yeah, so yeah, I think he would fall in line.
My man, Father Eve.
Yeah, Father Evil is up there. Iron Angel. I believe this is Iron Angel, right? Let me double check here. Because again, how this website does it kind of, as you can see, it sort of cuts off the names of the characters there. Yeah, that's the character. So initially we had her on tier 5, whatever that was initially. Iron Angel, remind me of what her powers are. I feel like she also got, is she one of the characters that it's slipping my mind, Ralph, and I apologize. She fights alongside a Tridian in the gang, right? She got her powers in the same kind of means, right? She was a regular person and got additional power from the gods, or was she above that? Please remind me. As for right now, I'd probably put her at ascendant. Um, because I'm really trying to remember. Actually, hold on. I have the database. Hold on. Girls' energy wings, halos, can see. Yeah, she was with them, powered by a Tridian. Yeah, so ascendant. So okay, cool. Okay, I was second guessing myself, Ralph. Forgive me. I was definitely second guessing myself. Then we have let's do Atlas. I want to test you here now. Atlas. Where would you place Atlas, Lonzo?
From what I know of the story,
Mm-hmm.
reading it, are they born like that, right?
Great. Yes. Good job. Yep.
So
They were
yeah,
born
it
like that.
being
So
they being empowered, right?
okay. Yep. That is absolutely correct. Dre. Let me ask you this, Dre. Um in regards to Pantheon, we placed them on ascendant in regards to the tier list. I'll read that out for you really quick. For us, the ascendant is a being who has surpassed humanity through transformation or rebirth. And if there was a sub tier, I put him at 5A, God touched, a human given the power or born from gods. So, because if I remember correctly, the orb, right? The Orbithean is where he gets those powers from. He was a regular guy at first. Would you agree with that classification? For him, let me know. Um, so here's an interesting thing here. So we have characters from our story Dogma. These characters are demon hunters, and they're regular people. But they get the power system in Dogma is called Glory, and they follow Adonai, and they get their powers from Adonai. And so these regular people, insanely enough, get their power from the big G. So honestly, through the use of their powers, they would, I think, fall under Ascendant. Now, does that put them on par with these characters, the rest of these characters on this list? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And again, when we start talking about stats, then we'll start, go from there. Can these two characters, Reina and Kaya, get shot? Yes. Can they die from getting shot? Absolutely. But do they get their powers from God? Yes. So when they're fighting demons, they're extremely effective. When they're fighting muggers on the street, can they be effective? Yes. But at the
Now,
end, go ahead.
now, Dre, if it was up to me, I said tier two. You know what I mean? After what I saw him do on some of them pages, tier two. He was out here curing cancer and doing all kind of things.
Yeah,
Tier
he
two.
was moving. Yeah.
Tier two, no argument.
So we are gonna get ready to wrap up here. I think I can speed run it. I am gonna hold you.
Do you, Lloyd?
I think I can speed run it.
You
Um,
feel that you're that skilled with it, man? Hmm?
I'm Himothy, bro. I'm absolutely
Mm,
Himothy with it. So okay, let's do that. Inanna is a god, so she's mythic. Done. Where's my Ravenmocker at? Ravenmocker is literally an indigenous being. The Ravenmocker is an indigenous spiritual deity, but he's not a god. I don't believe. So I'm putting him in supernatural in this regard. Um, I'm gonna put him in supernatural.
how
Um,
about my boy from Lawful Evil, man?
Lawful evil. I'm pretty sure he's just a regular guy that has the blades of Anansi, so he's definitely peak human. Lily is a succubus, so she would
She up there,
probably
Mystic.
be a lesser god. So she's mythic, which is crazy. That's like they seemingly are comparable, but she would definitely be mythic. I might as well put all the rest of Tariq's characters in empowered. Um, and he's got some cold ass characters. Yeah, these guys all born with their abilities and powers. So let's just keep it a buck. They're all going right there. Boom, boom. And again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns as it relates to our tiering system, the orb makes pantheon an universal concept. Wherever there's creation, there's pantheon, souls, stars, etc. So let me ask you this, because again,
The
if
orbs make pantheon an universal concept. Wherever there is creation, there's pantheon.
so
Nigga,
mhm.
he's
So he
he's
so the
tier two.
orb transforms him into a force like the Phoenix Force. However, what's going on, Tavis? However, I guess the question now, right, is well, what is Pantheon a human given the power of the gods, right? And then that power that manifests oh snap. I think it froze. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Hmm. So it did freeze. Come on back right quick. Oh, but while you're here, Sledge, uh, tell me what remind me rather. Sledge is a regular guy that uses tech, correct? And then, in case you guys didn't hear me at all, oh gosh, I hope it's not echoing. It's definitely going to be echoing. There we go. A human turned into a collection of the gods' responsibility for the creation of all things. Okay, bet. Okay, cool. And so, this is perfect. So yeah, I put him on ascendant because yeah, he's a being that surpassed humanity through transformation or rebirth. He's God touched, so humans given the power of or born from the gods. So yeah, so he'd be there, but again, he would probably scale above. Like these characters would probably be like this here, in regards to those strength levels. Um, but then yeah, he's a regular guy. Okay, so but he uses hold on, he also uses tech and stuff, right? And then hold on, let me see if Lonzo, let me know if you're watching. It kicked both of us for like 2 seconds. There we go. Um, not poor man's Iron Man. Stop it. But if he's a character that, if like you said, using your verbiage in regards to poor man's Iron Man, he would be enhanced, right? He's got cybernetic or technological augments to his being. That's a tier 9 on our tiering level here. Um, let's see. I'm pretty sure this character. Let me not make assumptions here. Let's see. Who else do we have? Izanagi is a lesser god. So I'd probably put him in Mythic. And we're kind of speed running because we're getting close to time here because we've been live for almost 2 hours. But if you have any questions, we can go back over really quickly our scaling system. Um, so the thing is, I'm thinking about our characters from the Unbeloved. They are considered, guys. They are mortal and tethered to the rules of the verse. So yeah, I'd place them in Mythic. Do I have a picture of Izanami on here? I don't have a picture of Izanami on here, but I do have their kids. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these two here, Hiroko and Awashima there, and then Iabani, he's a regular guy, but he utilizes magical weapons, so they're there. Ali, same thing. They get their powers or weapons from an Anna. He's also utilizing, it's like a magical conduit. That's Taro. Let's see. And now let me ask you guys. And again, I guess I'll invite you guys to check out our um the live again. It'll be on the YouTube, but just to share this again. Basically we did a short version of my panel that I go to conventions with in regards to quantifying characters. And so again, just a real quick high level version of it. We have tier 10, which is that baseline. Did it kick me again? No. Which is baseline. Again, no normal humans / aliens, no supernatural, physical, or enhanced traits. Tier 9 enhanced, which is technologically or cybernetically augmented humans or aliens. Tier 8 is meta, so this is anybody that gained their powers through science accidents or external forces. However, when we say external forces, it can be like the Fantastic Four in regards to like cosmic radiation. But the moment we elevate past that and say a godly being gave them the powers, or an energy that is like the Phoenix Force or something, because those are sentient beings or godlike beings, that changes that status, if you would. Empowered is somebody that's just born with powers. And again, just born with the powers, not given the powers from, excuse me, the gods or anything of that nature. Tier 6 was magic infused humans or aliens. They're spirit wielders or divine conduits, anywhere between Doctor Strange to Doctor Fate. If you put on the helmet and the boo and now you can use magic, bet. If you're channeling the energy of the Vishanti, bet. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Due to the collection of outer god. Oh, did I read that one already? No, no, I did. Due to the collection of outer gods within Pantheon, he is outside the law of the cosmos, much like Wanda. He can break universal law and rules, bet. And so, perfect. So Wanda is actually a really good example of although she can do that, right? Actually, this is a fun experiment with ours. She would, she's a mutant, so she would just be tier 7, right? But the type of abilities that she uses can be attributed to being supernatural. But at the end of the day, she was born with the mutant ability to utilize chaos magic. Do I have that right? It is chaos magic, right? Gotcha. So yeah, her mutant ability is to utilize that, right? Okay, yeah. So although she does have supernatural esque adjacent abilities that allow her to channel ancient and divine magic, at the end of the day, she was born with these superhuman abilities and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting situation there, because now one of the things that we can argue, right, is characters like Raven, right? She was born with it. She was also born with it. It's very nuanced. I guess it's a very nuanced thing. And so I feel like in your case with Pantheon, I guess the same thing can be happening, right? Where it's like, yeah, he was a regular guy and then this happened, right? And again, when we start talking about Marvel, when we start talking about DC, we start talking about these characters, you run into an issue as these characters continue to evolve, right? And so, again, if I remember correctly, Scarlet Witch is just her ability was just chaos magic, but then as you dive into the lore a little bit more, and we start talking about Nexus beings and all this other stuff or what have you, there's new aspects added to the lore that make the character a little bit more special in verse, that adds to their lore. So it's a very, very nuanced thing. I think I still would stick with my response for her and be like, no, much like all the rest of the mutants, she would just be an empowered character. But because of what her ability is, it gives her enough range to do these other things that dive into those aspects of the supernatural or concept manipulation or what have you. But at the end of the day, she just is, excuse me, she's somebody born with powers. Excuse me, if that makes sense. So, yeah, no. Let me know. Let me know if we need to stick to that a little bit more. Let me know. And then, okay, I think Alonzo had to dip out ever so briefly here, but again, we've almost been live for 2 hours. So I'll go through the rest of these really quick, and then I'll somewhat speed run the characters that I do remember, and then we'll get ready to close out in a second. But please go back and rewatch the live if you would. Tier 5 was Ascendant. These are characters who have surpassed humanity. That's what we were just talking about. So whether you're a, can you see this screen? Yeah, y'all can see this screen. Whether it's a character that is Swamp Thing, who, okay, he was human and he got transformed, right? Dr. Manhattan, or Shazam, where it's like, again, these are characters that were human, but they've ascended past that. Tier 4 is mythic, so the beings that could be considered gods or lesser gods. This is eternal champions. This is again immortal yet tethered to the rules of the universe. We have Odin as the example. We have cosmic forces, something that's necessary for the balance of the universe. That would be a Galactus. And then world shapers like Mr. Mixie and Batmite. Huh? Yeah, I'll walk over there. Tier 3 is Transcendent. And that's those characters again. These are the Watchers. These are the Phoenix Forces. That's those characters. characters that would fall in line there. Um, and just for the definition, entities detached from mortal form or logic. Um, and then we have dimensional. And again, so that's and to go back to what we were talking about with Pantheon, right? Like Pantheon, I guess like the orb itself would probably be kind of up here, right? Or those gods all fused together would kind of be up here, right? It being able to exist in all places, times, or states. Um, and maybe even at some point, as you were describing his ascension later on, right? Like arguably, if he gets to a point where he no longer is, because you said like he's the only version of him that exists. Um, but if I remember correctly, he would still need to travel to these places. I think there was like an astral project for him, and he went to another verse, and there wasn't another version of him anywhere else. But he doesn't himself exist in all places, right? Um, so he wouldn't be transcendent then. Um, So anyway, we could dive more into that um, as we do more of these lives and stuff like that. Then we have tier two, dimensional, not bound to time space. They're able to travel through timelines, universes, or planes. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's able to do that. Like we just talked about, astral projected and stuff like that. So, and again, what we want to do with this tiering system is separate the ability from what these characters are, if that makes sense. If their innate design is to be this thing in the universe, then that's one thing, right? So the anti-monitor's main thing was to destroy right, these alternate realms and stuff like that. So his entire thing is this thing is a dimensional destroyer, right? Um, same thing for World Forge's role, the same thing with Perpetual's role. Now, do they have other abilities? Yes, but what are they? What is the things that they do? Right? Again, the big thing is what are they? So I don't want to get the too confused, although in some cases, especially on these higher tiers, um, the line can be blurred somewhat, right? But these are characters that are not something that they got transformed into, but it is the thing that they are. The Phoenix Force exists in all places, times, and states. That's what it is. Um, Even though Jean Grey harnesses it and becomes the Phoenix and stuff like that, that's not the whole of what the Phoenix is, right? Or does. Same thing with things like the Spectre, the Watcher, and stuff like that. And let me know if this makes sense, if we need any further clarification and stuff like that. But just because they can doesn't mean that's what they are, but also that's very nuanced. It's a case by case with some of these characters. So, like, I think one of my favorite examples might be with the Sword of Justice, right? Where the Sword of Justice itself is a sentient being, and it is an avatar of justice. However, it is still a power that can be harnessed, right? And so, whereas if we just stick with the power that can be harnessed in this conceptual state, right? The eternal echo, like the anti life equation, the speed force, they can be harnessed, but it is also a sentient being that's given the energy. It's a sentient concept. It is justice. It sets the stage and the standard of justice, but it also has a life force, an energy force that it shares for Tridian to utilize. So it's these very nuanced things. And I feel like the same thing would happen in a conversation about a character like Pantheon. Um, and maybe even arguably, I would say, no, I was going to say Betrayus, but I don't think so. I think Betrayus is just, um, let me know what Betrayus is. Let's do that. Let me not make assumptions. What is Betrayus? Is he a god? Or is he just like a really strong alien? Let me know. What is he exactly? Um, so the last couple, I say the last couple characters, but where's my thing at? Share this tab instead. So last couple, this guy looks like he has the speed force. I don't know who this character is per se. The picture was just there. For right now, I'm gonna put meta. Um, I do believe this character was a part of a baseline conversation. That's Midnight Owl. Um, Decathlete was not just a regular guy. It seemed like he had powers he was born with. So we're going to do empowered. Um, this guy was all tech. His name escapes me, but enhanced. Um, this goddess here, she'd be mythic. That's the verdant mother, if you guys don't remember. Blamurai. I'm trying to remember. I feel like he was a regular guy. Ghostwing was kind of like Nightwing. He had powers. We're gonna go empowered. Actually, let me look on the database here. We're cross-referencing because again, I have to go back through and completely update the database based on this new tiering system. And although some characters stay the same, um, some change based on inherently what the definition is. So he has a ghost physiology. The question is, was he born with it or not? I have no reason to believe that he wasn't, so we're going to go ahead and keep him on empowered. So again, empowered are characters that were born with it. Meta is characters that got it from an outside source, whether it was scientific, an accident, cosmic forces. But then when we start moving into the godly realm, that's tier 5, where it's like, hey, the gods gave you these powers and abilities. Um, Alexandria the Great. I think she was born with her powers. I don't think there was an experiment. I don't know if she gets her powers from the gods or anything. Alexandria, where are you? Yeah, I think she was just born with these. Ray, if you're watching this in the future, please let us know, clarify. But again, I'm kind of somewhat speed running this based on my surface level knowledge of some of these characters. Uh, was Dark Sentinel on here? Am I bugging? Um, and I think Spiff's character Adax. I don't remember. I don't remember where he is. Invictus is a concept of consumption. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and put him here. And then I know I got Mr. Heartline himself here. He's definitely he's either dimensional or conceptual. Huh. Not bound to time and space. I know that for sure, but is he the embodiment of an idea, truth, or law? Is he just a force? Yeah, he'd be him and the final end would either be dimensional or conceptual, I think. Um this was a regular guy. This was Funet, something like that. He was a regular guy. This guy's character, I forget his name, but he's definitely enhanced. This was just a knight, so I think he was just a regular guy. This was another Tariq's characters. They all were born with these powers, so that's that. Oh gosh. Malik, right? Was that the name of the character, Dre? Hold on. I think that was I think that was the name of your character, right, Malik? Malik. It is Malik. He, I think, would be a mythic character, right? He's a lost angel. So I'm gonna move him to mythic, and then actually no, yeah. He's a fallen angel. He's a lost angel. Yeah, mythic. I'm trying to think. This is a regular guy. I think he didn't have powers, right? Gosh, I wish. Where's Nathan? I need Nathan in here to tell me about that character. Bravin. He's just tech. He has a tech suit. So yeah, I was right. He would be. Where the heck did I just put his card? There we go. He would be enhanced. Reaper, I don't know much about Reaper. The View was born with his powers, right? So he would also be empowered. And then we're getting down to the wire. She's an alien and has powers. Vandora, Zadora. Um okay, Dre, I need your help here. I need to know what. Let me open my other file here. Ah, I thought I was gonna be able to do all this in 10 minutes, and I'm second guessing myself. Hold on, homegirl with the axe. She would be Varys. Oh, she's a human. She's just really strong. Hmm. What is Varys, bro? Oh, an abnormal. Abnormals, right? Darius is the guy in the suit, right? Because again, the picture on the tier site is it cuts off the dang image, but he was born with powers, telepathic, so empowered. He was so yeah, those characters are abnormal. So question, would Varys fall into that as well? Tutu Pele would be in there, right? Because she was a regular person, right? She's not alien. She would just be in an abnormal, right? Did I put her on here? If not, I can get those pictures. Her and her brother abnormals were augmented by science. Okay. And I'm assuming we're talking about Varys right there. So by science would be Meta. Her brother was this guy, if I'm not mistaken. So also Meta. And then I'm trying to I'm navigating. Yes, blue suit is Darius. Okay, bad. I'm navigating two different computers at the same time, like different mouses. Forecast. Forecast. He's just able to harness storms and stuff. He's a regular he's a regular guy born with his powers. So there we go. We're gonna put him in empowered. This was like a clone of. So this was also Meta and Meta for more Anthony Mormon's characters there. Do we not have any transcendent characters that are detached from mortal form or logic and timeless? We don't have any Phoenix Force esque characters, Living Tribunal, Spectre, Watcher, Monitor esque characters. Damn. That's actually crazy. Pele's Aqua Sapien. So I'd say empowered. I know I'm not. I guess I didn't put her on here, but we're gonna go back through because again, I have been holding off on doing updates on the database until we actually helped everybody understand the tiering system that we're going with, the one that we made. Understand what we're attempting to do with that, and once everybody was on the same page with that, obviously we tiered them here. Which then now, once everybody kind of, once we've made sense of it all, and everybody understood it, we update the database accordingly and have those final versions of the cards in that regard. Damn, that's what I was doing? I was trying to see if that was Dark Sentinel in that image, because I'm not familiar with that image that I put on here. Oh, it's not ringing a bell per se. Yeah, that is Dark Sentinel, and Dark Sentinel was a regular guy, but he had a tech suit. Yeah, he had a nanotech suit, so he would be enhanced. I'm trying to remember if ADAX was on that as well. Pain receptor shut off, accelerated healing factor, predator instincts, the GDAX armor, various cloaking tech. Yeah. So 8X and Dark Sentinel are definitely enhanced. Um, then again, does he have? No, he doesn't have powers. All of this is a suit. Okay, so yeah, we'll put him in enhanced for now. And again, we're gonna post this in the group. If you see your character, if you have questions about the definition, and where they actually are, or if you're trying to figure out how to get your character added, we'll do all that. The bug is an alien. Argon Krill, yes, the bug problem event. He was born with powers, so he would be empowered. So again, and to clarify, of course, all of these are inclusive of human or alien up until we get to mythic. Mythic are now just those godly characters, right? Or characters that can be considered gods. They didn't start off as human and what have you. Tier 5 is kind of that breaking off point of, yeah, you've transformed from normal mortal to something more, and then everything past that starts getting into that realm. Um, Ebony Fang, from Way of Pamen. Let me go to the database card. Let me see if we get enough information there. I am really looking forward to Ebony Fang. Um, she was still under the thing for Ascendant. She's a she is a descendant of the Orisha. Yeah. So that is born of the gods. So there's that. Remind me of this character right here, Dre, and I'm upset with myself. We talked about this character before. Um, I'm getting back reacclimated on indie breakdown stuff, guys, because man, the Midnight Comics side, we've been busy. Harbinger. We've been busy. And so yeah, okay, he was a regular guy. I believe he was augmented by science as well, right? So if that's the case, he'd be meta. But correct me if I'm wrong. Parasitic suit. Is this a suit that he's wearing, or was he augmented? Or both? But yeah, obviously I definitely stepped away for a while. His mind is able to communicate with quantum particles on a molecular level. This allows him to move objects, including himself, without touching them. I'm looking at the stuff for Dr. Soul right now, where he wants to go about communicating with it. His brain waves can can become intangible, can travel underwater. Khaled is a normal man who was empowered by the sword of Allah. Okay, so normal guy, very capable normal guy, but normal guy nonetheless. Okay, I'd probably. So again, he might be peak human, but then he has a weapon that gives him. Okay, yeah, we'll stick with that. With that being said, there's that other character that Mormon has. He's a normal human bound to an eldritch parasitic life form. Okay. So that would be an external force. So he's meta. He'd still be meta. Because it's not tech, but it is a living creature. So yeah, that would be an external force. He'd be meta then. Oh, we're getting down to the wire with some of these. And again, some of these characters I don't fully remember. I think Dr. Soul, and I'm reading it. His brain is as biological as gives him precog. His DNA was permanently altered to a triple helix, so it was altered. He wasn't born that way. I can't stress enough that he's a telepath. He uses so he's genetically altered. That's science. That's meta because he wasn't born with it. Oh, okay. Yikes. Anubis would be mythic. Okay, we have 2 rows left. This character, his name escapes me, but he was a regular guy. I remember him going against Fune. Actually, did he go? Yeah, that's Nomad. Okay. Dre, I'm really slipping right now. This character right here. Um Incendiary is an abnormal, born with his abilities. Ooh, did I get that right? Did I get that right? He was I put him at meta. I couldn't remember if he was born or born with his abilities or not. I thought he got experimented on. That's why he slick snap, but he was just always crazy. Um, I'm pissing myself off because I used to know these characters by heart. All right, so we got Rias. He's the cyber duck. Like he's definitely he's enhanced. He's been augmented cybernetically, so he's enhanced. Um, who else we got? I'm still tripping off the transcendent one. Like we don't have any characters in that category. Um Feline, right? That's her name. Yeah, Feline. I think she still would be considered enhanced. A hero equipped with downloadable skills. All right, yeah, we're gonna do that. She's enhanced. And then oh goodness. I don't know where Sir Absolute would be. And it's irking me. I don't know where he would be. Um Hold on. There's this other character that's also irking me that I need to know. I want to know. Dang, Alonzo, if you're watching, I could not do it in 10 minutes. I thought I was able to do it. Mech, that was the other guy's name, but where is Earthling? Yes, Earthling, Earthling, Earthling. Don't get it twisted. This Earthling is an alien. Um so he's an alien. Did he have powers though? He's able to shapeshift. So yeah. Okay. So he's able to shapeshift. So empowered. All right. And then so funny enough, on my desktop, I am trying to look at all of the characters that are in Reckoning. On my laptop, I'm looking at the characters that are in the Nexus and then cross referencing what we have left the on this tiering thing. We got 2 rows left, as you guys can see. So we're almost there. We're almost there. I'm trying to see what about this what's his name? Beetle, something Beetle? Rhino Beetle. Rhino Beetle, does he have the powers? Armored bug-like skin, genetically enhanced Rhino Beetle physiology. So we're gonna go anytime I hear genetically enhanced, all right, bet. They weren't born with it. Somebody gave it to him in some capacity. So he's gonna go there. I see 2 more Mormons characters. I think that's Fricked next in line for the Galhund throne. Um, these characters are animals here. They're not even human. Heals fairly fast. So you got a healing factor. And then Kavlar, first daughter of Dodd. Okay. He's very fast in comparison to humans, but they're not human. I mean, not that that matters, but they just are. I feel like they're just the strongest version of their race. So I'm going to, but they have a healing factor, but they just heal faster than humans. It doesn't. So that's just regular for their race. So we're gonna, ah, they don't have powers. They don't have powers. Some things just heal faster. There's nothing special. They just are. So we're gonna put them in baseline. They'd be peak versions of their race. Um, I'm still irking myself with Sir Absolute. This guy is a baseline guy. This guy just has a gun. Um, man. Maverick, was that her name? Martyr. I said Maverick. Martyr, she's definitely a baseline. Um, she has a good arsenal, but she's not augmented or anything like that. And again, if I'm missing something as it relates to these characters, please let me know. Bandor, Zandra, After being shot in the chest and kidnapped, her handlers at TDH have provided her with flight bands that instantly protect her from explosions, bullets, and energy weapons. 16-year-old local university and daughter of the mysterious alien from the one of the inhabitable planets of the star system Epsilon Eridani, located about 11 light years from Earth, known as the Power Broker, and a human mother employed by NASA as an astronaut. Her alien heritage gave her a DNA structure, a triple helix, which gives her and her younger two siblings immunity to most diseases. So I think I got her in the wrong spot. Where is she? Pandora. No, I got her in the right spot. Empowered. She's in the right spot. And oh gosh, we're getting down to the wire, y'all. And I'm really I know John Henry is right here. Now, was he a regular guy? Latent skill, heavy handed, neither man nor machine can keep up with this hammer wielding. Neither man nor machine can keep up with this hammer wielding warrior. He's not augmented. He's got gloves, poison gourds, cambos. Yeah, he's a regular guy. He's a regular guy. So baseline. Oh, guys, I get Nathan on the line now. I need to know about Sir Absolute. There's no way this thing's dimensional, bro. What? Has the ability to manipulate universal energies, but he's a human. Limited personal customization, teleportation, energy, regenerative abilities. Hispanic. He's a human born with powers, crazy powers, but he's a human born with powers. I need to know if he was granted these powers from an outside force. At the end of the day, I think he was human, but he can just bend these things. Damon. Damon or Damien? What is his name? I think it's Damon. Damien. He's African American, regular guy, but he uses the energy. I need to know Theomanis. Theomanis is a Greek warrior and brother of Maximus. Base armor created by Hephaestus, symbiotic armor, Krythos. Biotic manipulation allows for enemy control. God split. Okay, so he's human. Him and Maximus are human. Wait. I have story questions because isn't Theomanis... Maybe I'm confusing him. For some reason, I thought Theomanis was Hopebreaker's son from the future. Let me know if that's changed. I think that's Maximus right there. Let me know if that's changed. If anybody can get in contact with Spiff or ask that question. All right. Then there's this blood guy. Blood Shark. He is a killer shark with a giant mech that's enhanced. Y'all, how do we not have any transcendent beings? This is insane. All right, last row. We're almost done. Now, these first two characters, I don't know who these characters are for real. I don't know who they are for real. They were added to one of our more recent events, battles, what have you. But I don't remember them. So those two characters are probably going to get left out this time. So we got Mr. Yaraki Hada. He just wears armor that mimics the species that raised him. But essentially it's like a samurai fit. He's a regular guy. He's not a regular guy. His skin is hard. He's got hardened skin on parts of his body. Mm, he's still a regular guy though, so we're gonna do his durability is probably up. And again, we haven't gotten stats. We're not doing stats today, but yeah, okay. Black Bat. Black Bat, Black Bat, Black Bat. Ooh, you'll have to forgive me, y'all. Oh, she's got magic. Not Black Bat, but this character here. So she would be supernatural because that's her whole thing. I'm gonna finish the rest of the Nexus characters. Let's just do that to keep it simple. And again, on the database, like they are showing as one thing, right? But it's subject to change. So even though I can look and I am looking at the database, it does not mean that those characters are still going to be there by the time we finish this. She's an immortal that wields the weapons and armor of the gods. Okay, so she's an immortal, yet still tethered to this stuff. So she would be a mythic character because that's for the gods and lesser gods section. Oh God, I don't even remember this character look crazy. Hold on. Nucor, intergalactic wielder of enslaved slugs. He's just a hybrid of several species. Um, atomic bug beams, bug control, slug poison, healing slime, spiked armor, teleportation. Yeah, there's that. I really gotta know what in the world Black Bat is. Where are you? Do I not have the picture on the database for Black Bat? Am I crazy? Am I looking past him? Unless he has a book now and this was just an old. Let's go to Armory right quick so we can stop wasting time. Armory, cellular energy, yeah. Stores immense energy within cells, amplifying physical ability. I think safely, we got another empowered. We have a lot of empowered characters, right? A lot, which again, that's a lot of characters are just born with their powers, which is fire, right? That's cool. I am shocked that we don't have any transcendent characters. I think I was going to put Invictus there, but I don't. Let me relook at Invictus really quick. Let me relook at Invictus, which even on the database, he was conceptual. So the nigh omnipotent former member of the cosmic oligarchy. Yeah. Reality warping, matter and antimatter manipulation. Hold on, let me go back to your statement. Let's start there. Yeah, but he's a concept. He is the concept of consumption. I'm gonna say like if he oversaw a law as part of the cosmic oligarchy, I would put him at 3B. But if he is the concept of something, then we'll leave him where he's at. Damn. Yeah. Okay. Let's finish this out. We're on the last, what is it, 7, 8 characters? And then we'll be done. Where are these characters at? Who's the strong arm chick? Where is she at? I swear I'm looking right past some of these characters. They're not on here. Okay. Okay, that's all right. We're going to move to Reckoning on this screen now. That's irking me. Like, did I not upload these characters? Okay. That's stretch the code. Where is this other character? Wow. Okay, I'm bugging. So Blamurai originally was on the mutant tier, which is now called empowered, but he's a master martial artist and swordsman. He's got high tech armor, sword, compound bow, and has chi manipulation. And again, it's one of those weird things, right? If their whole thing is tech, like that's one thing. But like Batman, right? He can utilize mech suits, but like his whole thing isn't. He's augmented and uses things. So I'm gonna argue that Blamurai is a regular peak level guy. All right. And then let me see who's next that we have. We have the Eternal. Eternal would be electrokinesis, immortality, invincibility. He was born in Germany. He's just a European guy. Um, yeah, he's just a regular. He's a guy with powers. Um, and again, all of this has room to change as we start talking to more and more of the folks that empowered characters. I blame Goku. Ha! Right, but even all well, and you're right. That was yeah. I guess you understand what we're doing with this tiering system. Yeah, empowered is characters that were born with something different, right? With powers and stuff. Um, but the great thing is, here's the great thing when we look at this. Although yes, we have a lot of empowered characters. Um, they're not the end all be all characters, right? Like empowered just means somebody that was born with their powers. Watchman's a street level guy, right? He's like three characters I kind of mix him up with, or not mix him up with, but compare would be Nightwing, Daredevil, and um uh Captain America, right? Um so like he's not Goku levels of strength, but yeah, you would probably put Goku right here on empowered, right? Born with these powers and then ascends to these higher levels of power, but he would be right here. So they're not really OP or anything like that. But the fun thing about this is just understanding where each character is so that we can all be on the same page, right? Um, like we have Sledge here, but Sledge versus Rias, right? Although they're both enhanced characters, Rias has so much more in the arsenal. But then Sledge versus Street Smarts, it's a whole nother ball game, right? So the fun thing is like the conversation now that we understand where all these characters actually are. Now we can start talking about, well, what sets them apart from one another? What are the actual stats? But we do understand it. We started to have a conversation earlier, me and Lonzo. We talked about the fact that, where would a Dragon Ball character fit on here, right? And we have this cool little Kahoot game and stuff like that we play at the conventions when we're doing this as a panel. But um, Krillin would be baseline, right? He wouldn't even have been. He would be right here with the rest of these regular characters, right? One Punch Man would be right here as well. Why? Because they are regular people. But now we get to figure out what makes them special. And it's fun sorting them out by tiers. It also stimulates storytelling ideas. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I mentioned to you, I think I saw a video. I don't think I saw a video. I know I saw a video of you talking about public domain characters, if I remember correctly. And so, yeah, I definitely had some ideas in regards to that I think would have been really fun. We did we had this thing on the Midnight Comic side. We were doing What If Wednesdays, and we were like, well, what if, right? What if we made? Uh, I think one of the things that we did was, what if we did the Justice League with just not Justice League. We did something. We did what if these characters were made with public domain, and then like midway through that idea, we was like, but what if the Justice League or X-Men or these characters were indie? What did that look like? And that's where we did those images and stuff from. And so yeah, I want to keep doing those, but I think what would be cool, bringing up your video, is like, what if we did indie versus public domain? That'd be kind of cool. Where it's just like, all right, we have the indie version of the X-Men versus the public domain version of the X-Men. Go. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool, bro. If we do a public domain versus indie, and be like let's learn about these characters, let's talk about these characters, what they brought to the table, what they can do. And again, it kind of just dives more into those different, or I'll use your words here, stimulate storytelling ideas, right? And kind of going from there. I'd like to talk about that at a later point, but I think I like that idea, actually, because it's all information that can already be verified and looked at. But then in regards to the indie side of things, it's conversation that can just kind of be had about why do you think this character would fill in this spot. And Ralph, thank you. I'm glad you liking the tiers so far. I'm glad you liking the tiers. We trying, you know what I'm saying? We try to go with that fire, boy. We trying. I think this character's name was Plasma Fire, right? We're on the last rung here. Plasma Fire used to be mutant, which is now empowered. She's genetically enhanced, so off rip, that's not born with, but given through outside sources, she'd be meta. And then, oh goodness, who are we left with? We got 5 characters left. Dang, I really think Black Bat was born with, and then I forget what this character's name is. I know this was one of Molly's characters. I think she was experimenting on. And then Reaper. Indestructible Scythe. He's got the power of chaos. He's got the power of a burning star. He is an alien as well. We're going to put him on empowered. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have our list. Hold on. I think I'm going to go. Hold on. There was a character. I think we saw this character in. I think they placed them in the wrong spot, but did we put them? People put them in the baseline, but is that actually? So Grey Wolf, that was Grey Wolf. Okay. So Grey Wolf would be, he's a regular guy. And so by the creator's admission, he'd be 10A. And then Eagle One looks like that's a suit. So we're going to give him enhance, and that actually completes our list so far. Now, are there other characters that are in the database that I haven't pulled from yet? Absolutely. But like, can you imagine how much longer that would be? So this list, this is the list. This is the thing. We're here. It's done for now. But next time we'll still go back over the presentation of what our tiers are. Actually, you guys can just watch the thing again, and then if you guys have questions, we have a Kahoot game. If there was more people in it earlier when we were doing it, we would have ran the Kahoot game, and then we would have had some prizes and stuff, and we would have, some free books for you guys and stuff. But yeah, so I think this is a solid tier list. We'll post it on the site. We'll post it on the page. I'm really shocked that we don't have any transcendent characters. And again, transcendent being entities detached from mortal form, or logic timeless. They oversee the laws of the universe. Actually, I feel like the final end should be there, right? Because they're supposed to be cleaning up the universe, right? Um, please correct me if I'm wrong in that, in regards to what it's supposed to be and its job function, essentially. Um, ah, nope, nope, I didn't want to do that. Nexus. It's a Nexus character, so let's scroll down. Final end. The end all be all. Infinite wall breaker can pierce any boundary, even the infinite. Yeah, but no, no. Find out to touch into anything in its grasp with permanent erasure, no return of echo. Silence embodiment, internal patience. Unstoppable can't be delayed by barriers, paradoxes, or cosmic laws. Peace seeker motivated not by cruelty, but longing, chasing the perfect stillness it once felt. Mm, yeah, he'd probably be here. Damn. And then what about Heartline? Um, Tomb Force wielding menace. Mm, it's harder when you get to these kind of upper echelons, right? When you get to these higher echelons, the question again continues to be like, what are they exactly? Um, like I could play the guessing game all day, but it's not my character, so I don't know. Because like arguably, not even arguably, yeah, we don't have like that's crazy. We don't have anybody that so like again, I think if you had some other cosmic oligarchy characters, Dre, I think they would probably go into Transcendent, but damn, that's it. I think who sees the laws of the universe? Sees everything, rarely interferes. Yeah. That's crazy. We don't have any transcendent beings here, y'all. That's crazy. I want more characters, y'all. I want more characters. I want this list to be even more ridiculous. So anywho, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and save this. Um this is the current status quo. Now next time we're gonna dive into the stats, and what we're gonna do is that each of these fights, and that's what's gonna change around here, each of these fights are going to determine where you are on this. So sake of conversation, excuse me, we did that matchup between Maze and Thorn. Not Thorn. Yeah, I think it was Maze and Thorn. So hypothetically, right, these two went against each other. Maze won in regards to the likes and popularity vote, right? So he won that fight. Right now, let's talk about enhance. Technically, Taharka is winning, right? So Taharka is would be first here, right? And as we're doing these battles, we're going to adjust these accordingly, right? So you guys will actually officially start getting ranked. And so once we have a good system down in regards to that with the battles, so on and so forth, um, even on the website, once we go back through and remake the cards, the game plan with that also is, hey, depending on where they are, and they will be organized as such, right? But we will be determining who the top characters are in each section. And we actually do have a game plan in the background for that to not only be a bragging rights thing, but we also have something in the background where there's actually going to be something tangible for you guys. Being engaged and being able to describe your characters and winning matches, so on and so forth. There's actually going to be some other behind the scenes stuff that we're about to implement that I am very excited about. So, yeah. Quite honestly, yeah. I feel like the final end might be up there. Um, these are embodiments. They sit outside of the universe. Okay, yeah, I think this is a solid. I think this is solid. I know they would be at the bottom rung of this. Maybe. Um. Yeah, so we're gonna do battles to determine these top rungs. There's gonna be a lot of fights with the empowered group, a lot of fights. Um, and again, Depending on how many likes you get, how many hearts you get, the discussions, that's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna do. We're not gonna bring back the judges yet, but we're gonna for sure. Um, y'all got me re-looking at this list. I'm sorry. Anyway, there's gonna be matchups. There's gonna be more conversations and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and hide on screen here. I'm back. So a lot of the conversation, a lot of the battles, stuff like that, will actually have purpose now. We're gonna actually be able to determine who the strongest characters are in each tier, and truly determine who the best. What are the best indie comic book characters that are out there? So if you know of any characters, if you want to participate in this, all that good stuff, we will consistently be asking you guys to post your characters, and on those posts specifically, well, we're going to be adding these characters to the tier list. That's going to get you the opportunity. So again, very similar to what we were trying to do with the database, right? Where it's just like, hey, add your character, and those characters are going to be in a fight. Now, don't even necessarily need that. We're going to do the likes, we're going to do the hearts, stuff like that. We're just going to continue to learn and show you guys the tiering system. And once we got a good system with the tiering, then, and as people have been discussing their character and what they can do, we're going to slowly segue into the stats, right? And then we're going to start discussing that. And once we do the tiers and we do the stats, those informations will be on the cards, the new cards for this new system. And then that will finally be in order. So I hope we've answered questions. I hope we've made this make sense. Um, and the hope is for this to be something that's utilized across all indie. Like, hey, my character is this. This is what they are. This is what they are defined by. This is what they can do. Because once your future fans understand what your character, once you understand what your character is, you can better explain to your future fans uh, what that character is, and I think that's going to go a long way. Where you don't have to give. I know there was some concern before, where it's like I can't tell you that because I'll kind of spoil the story, right? But if we can tell us what that character is without spoiling the story, like yeah, my character, he's this empowered character. What do you mean by that? And then you can tell them, well, yeah, he was born with his powers, right? And kind of go from there. And here's the powers he was born with. And you're like, oh snap, oh okay, so he was just a regular guy. He could do absolutely. Oh, your character was, he got the powers of Amon Ra. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he'd be an ascendant thing. He's like, oh, he's ascended. Oh, what is it? What does that mean? And so now you have better conversation points, and you have a better understanding of your character, and now they have a better understanding of your character. They have more to latch on to. It makes the conversations more meaningful. Because one of the, having gone to convention stuff like that, I think one of the concerns is, and I've been given this critique myself, where it's just like you're telling me a lot, you're overwhelming me with information. Um, Shout out to White Manga, who was the one that gave that critique when we was at a convention one time. He's like, you gave me a lot of information about all these stories, and yeah, can like just hone in, like kind of hone in. Like it all sounds great, but now like I'm overwhelmed. It was like, damn, valid point. Um, and so I took that information, and now even when we go to conventions and explain our character or ask, and go through our spill, right? It's a little bit more concise, and the hope is through this we can help you guys do the same in regards to explaining who and what your character is and what they can do, and maybe even have people infer what your story can be about through those simple conversations. Obviously, the breakdowns play a role in that. So as we get back to doing the show, get back to doing the breakdowns again, these 1 minute snippets of this character does X, Y, and Z. This is their character. Check it out, right? It makes it that much easier for you guys to reach your audiences. So that's the hope. That's the game plan. Um, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been nearly 3 hours. I said I was going to stop at the 2 hour mark. That was a lie, right? But here we are. That's a wrap. Again, definitely check out indiebreakdown.com. I'll probably post this list on there later this evening. Um, Hell, maybe I'll post it before I roll out here in a second. I'll post it in the group. I'll post it on the website so that you guys can take a look at the list. If you guys have any questions again about the definitions, we're going to keep going through each of that in the group, right? So each week we'll post a new battle based on that tier. And now we don't even have to ask people to post their characters for the matchups. We have the tiers and the characters that fit into those tiers already. So now we can just kind of post those matchups, but still ask that you guys, when we give you guys that definition again for each of these, please drop your characters in there, right? Characters that are in the database, characters that aren't in the database. If they're not on this tier list, please drop your character so we can add them to that. Give us a little snippet and understanding of what that character is, what they can do, so that we can better understand, so that when we put them in that next fight, again, there's already a level of familiarity because you've already engaged with their previous post, and all that other good stuff. But we do want to slowly get back to battles. We want to get back to events. We want to get back to some more of this fun stuff, right? And get to the goal of supporting one another, right? So anyway, all that fun stuff and more. We are back officially. So I have a couple more breakdowns to work on for season 4, and then we'll get started with season 5 officially. We do already have one interview for that. I do want to say, in regards to updating any previous breakdowns, the idea with those were just to give people a snippet of the character. So we're not really doing a lot of edits or updates on those. Now, obviously, characters grow, characters evolve, and that's what they pick up your book for, right? So things have changed since. That's why we usually stick with stories that are already out, that are already being done, because again, in most cases, when you don't have a story yet, this character could still be anything, right? But if you already have a story out, right? Yeah, the character's going to evolve, so it's still going to be fun for people to see where the character started and what they've evolved to. But in order for them to know, geez Louise, I think maybe it's just the lighting. But now they can see how far your character has come since that breakdown was done, however many months, years ago that was. So probably not going to do that. But in regards to the card updates and stuff like that, we'll start pumping those out here soon. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for helping us redefine power scaling in the indie world. Stay tuned again, because the show is coming back, breakdowns incoming, all that other good stuff, and battles are back. And then, like what I said earlier with Sledge, I want to maybe start doing indie characters versus public domain characters. I want to see what those conversations look like. I think that'd be kind of cool. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. Thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for helping us with that. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Bitch, I'm proud.